Hello and welcome to another episode of Manifest Actual Play. I'm Tommy Cotton. With me, as always, Dan Barron, Addy Gia, Seth Lilly, and Roman Milan. We're here to play some Manifest, but before we get into all of that, these wonderful people will have some things to talk to you about. So I'm going to pass all the attention over to them. We'll go through the announcements, and then I'll tell you what terrible things I've done to their player characters in the past few episodes.
So every month we like to highlight a charity. For October, we've decided to give our platform to the African American Breast Cancer Alliance. Their mission is to build awareness networks and provide resources for Black women and men affected by breast cancer. They were founded by Black women to address the lack of resources and support for breast cancer for African American women. They found that the support available to them failed to handle the barriers, cultural needs, and side effects they were experiencing. And so the AABCA is committed to sharing crucial and life-affirming information about breast cancer to Black women who have the highest mortality rate in the US and promote the benefits of early detection and treatment. The AABCA has been recognized locally and nationally for its efforts and is a fantastic organization that could really use your support. They do great work and we believe in what they do. So anything you have to give, we would appreciate it. I'm done talking now. Someone else.
I'll start talking now. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the stream. It's around 8 o'clock. It's Tuesday night. That only means one thing. You're here. You're with us. You're hip. You're fleek. You're not chuggy. You're hanging out. Look, guys, I took a shot with a word I heard on TikTok. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the stream. We're here around about 8 o'clock every Tuesday. If you can't remember that, if you don't want to look up words like chuggy, there are buttons underneath me that you can click, and then they will help you out. There's a bell and a star to help you follow, and then there's a big purple button that says subscribe, and then Twitch will tell you when we're here. You don't got to remember numbers or days or anything, really, if you don't want to. Computers will do that all for you now. And get that started with us, if you would, by clicking one of those buttons. We really appreciate it. Also, you can click the button again if you're already subscribed to gift subscribers, and that's super cool. And all of that support from subscribers and bits and all that stuff goes right back into the stream, into making stuff better, to getting better mics and cameras and guest stars and all that stuff. And we really, really do appreciate all of your support. And hey, here's something I haven't been talking to you about as much, but like, if you're still a little on the fence about whether sending William to Shatner to space was a good thing, well, here's something you can do to help. You can click that button if you've got an Amazon Prime subscription and you get a free subscription you can give to someone. You can take that money away from Jeff Bezos. You can say, like, hey, Jeff, I don't know if you choosing who goes to space or not is a great thing. Instead, you can give that money to us, and it's totally free if you've got an Amazon Prime subscription, and we really, really appreciate it.
And we'll choose who go to space.
We'll choose who goes to space, exactly. And on Manifest, the answer is nobody. Nobody can go to space. It's so important. It must be distinctly understood, or else nothing good can come of the game you're about to experience. Follow us on our socials, on our Facebook, on our Twitter, on Laura Dern's Instagram. And if I may give another quick shout out while I'm talking about the stream, get ready for next week, our Halloween special, our Rico Kazak Halloween special next Tuesday night. I'll be running it. It's going to have a ton of interactables and fun stuff to do. It is an episode titled Rico Kazak in Ghost Town Shakedown. So you're going to want to be there to see what that's about. Does Rico have to find information from a ghost? How would one even do that? Well, tune in next week. Maybe you'll find out. Or maybe they'll all die immediately. That probably doesn't happen. It's an episode of Rico Kazak. He probably does the thing. But still, there will be a lot of fun, chills, spills, and thrills. So please show up. Tell your friends. We'd really appreciate it. It is going to be a hell of a time. And now with that, I'm going to pass it all of the attention, every single ounce of attention you've got, all the way over to Addy, who is over here on my screen, but probably not over there on your screen. Over here, straight up to
There
Addy.
we go. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So if you missed that wonderful explanation from Roman, we are having a special holiday episode of this stream next week. It is spoopy themed, and we are taking a light in the darkness and bringing it to life. So it's same bat time, same bat channel. And by that I mean spooky manifest. Anyway,
Bat is fine actually for that one.
That's
Different bat content.
We're also gonna be revealing something that we've been working on for a while next week. So hopefully you'll have the chance to tune in, or you can stop by to watch the VOD, or you can go and subscribe to our YouTube, where we drop all of our episodes probably like a week or so after they air. If you don't like the video format, we have begun releasing our episodes on an audio-only format, aka a podcast, because what nerd group is complete without a podcast? So we use our RSS feed from our old podcast, Essential NPCs, where we drop all of our Manifest episodes. Currently, we're working through the first series, which featured Kinsey, Pax, and Roland, and they're currently doing the Dead Man's Gang thing, right?
Yeah.
We're on a boat.
Oh, we're on a boat. The boat. Yep. Well, I
And
guess it's not Kinsey, Pax,
definitely
and Roland. It is
Merriweather.
Rachel. Rachel's in there.
Rachel.
But yeah, so we're working hard to bring you our content in every format that we can. And you can find us anywhere you can find a podcast. You can just search Essential NPCs. In addition, if you want those episodes early, you can head over to our Patreon. We revamped it middle of August, and it is now focused on Manifest and everything Waypoint Game Designs, which means that you get early access to cool things that we're releasing, behind the scenes scoops, exclusive adventures, blog posts, and much, much more. In addition to our super exclusive Discord channel and our backer only Discord channel.
You can
thing.
be cool twice.
Oh, you can be super cool. You can join us. We'll talk to you about pretty much anything. So if you're interested in that, you can head to patreon.com/Waypoint Game Designs. I think that's all I have for this week.
Okay.
All right. So thanks for watching, and I'm gonna pass it off to. Is it Tommy?
The Lord of Lies, Tommy himself.
Ah, okay.
Right.
Then I'm gonna pass it off to Tommy, which is
Lord of the
this-
Lies.
So Seth, clearly in a week you've completely written and produced an entire song,
Finish,
right?
baby. Yeah, let me play it for you. Here we go. No, absolutely.
That was the
not.
first. That was the
But it's
first
gonna
rest
happen.
at the beginning of it, right there. There's a rest right at the beginning.
A rest is a note. If you look at it the right way. So,
Rest isn't it?
No. So Seth is continuing to work on the song that y'all immediately knocked the bit skull out of the park on.
ridiculous.
Speaking of like bits and stuff like that, to elaborate a little bit on the Rico Kasich interactables, basically that whole episode is a different format of actual play that we're going to be doing next week. You're going to be able to use bits to directly influence and occasionally, well, I mean, yeah, basically directly influence is the best way to put it. Everything that's going on, you'll be able to mess with us. You'll be able to change plot points. You'll be able to do all sorts of crazy things. And you'll be able to do that by just pushing some bits buttons at us. And then, it's going to be a wild and crazy time.
Do you think that this NPC would sound better if their voice was Stitch from Lilo and Stitch? For some bits and a little bit of luck, that can happen.
You can decide someone's been French the whole time.
They're not wrong. Also, Ryak just dropped 4,000 bits saying I'm practicing for next week.
Great practice, you absolute mad lad.
Wild.
Holy crap. All right. Okay. So, the only other thing I have to talk about before we move into the actual play and the recap is these lovely little numbers in the top left of our little boxes. That's how much grit we have. We can use that to influence our rolls, and you as viewers have the ability to give us grit. You can spend your viewer grit or your channel points to give grit to any individual player character, or you can do so to give grit to me, and it's cheaper if you give it to me, so you should just do that more.
It's worse.
And I will say 12 is the 12 is the maximum that a player can have. Lauren just dropped 5,000 just showing up Ryak.
We talk about practice?
Practice, huh? You guys are crazy.
the
Thank you
stream.
so much.
Not
Thank
the
you so
stream.
much for 4,000 and 5,000. You guys are crazy. Oh my god. I do want to make sure I have the grit totals correct. I start with 8 as always. Dex I have at 10. Eloise I have at 7. Porter I have at 12,
Big
and
money.
Gus I have at 4.
That's right.
So right now Porter's the only one who actually cannot take any grit. Because he's all full up because he hasn't had to roll that many dice.
I will be flashing back 3 times in one flashback. So just
Ooh,
prepare for
I'm
that.
excited. I'm excited.
The triple
Dream.
flash.
Turns out you were Leo Riggs all along. Okay, so that's we got some grit rolling in. We'll resolve that after we transport our minds to the world of Manifest and look at some cool character art, and then I'll tell you what's happened so far. Hello, we're back. All right. So, previously on Manifest Actual Play, these 4 drifters have been split. They battled the illegal mercenary group Black Star in the Punched Peaks, put up a hell of a fight, took out most of Black Star, but unfortunately Eloise and Gus were both captured at the end of the fight, and then Dex and Porter, through some fuckery from none other than Kinsey McCharlotte, found themselves effectively teleported 3 days later to Waypoint, leaving Leo Riggs, aka the Raven, in the Punched Peaks without any explanation. So that happened, and then Dex and Porter began putting together a plan to rescue Eloise and Gus from their captivity in Brimstone. Inside the walls of Brimstone, Eloise and Gus were put through horrific, torturous procedures that seem to be drawing samples from their body, removing both their hit points and shine in the process. As they were being tested on by one Ulysses Pruitt, who is the scientist being contracted by Brimstone to experiment on illuminated people, who seems to have perhaps his own goals as well. However, he was a little blindsided as during Gus's procedure, Gus broke out of his restraints and attempted to escape. Eloise awoke in a tank, restrained in a like little hall with other like kind of like liquefied tanks. She had like a breathing tube down her throat. She tried to escape as well. They almost made it out of the lab, but I guess Gus technically did make it out of the lab. He made it out of the lab and around the corner. But then Pruitt used the ability with the shock collars that these two are wearing to knock them both out. Now, that's what happened inside Brimstone. Meanwhile, at Waypoint, Dex and Porter spoke with Mayor Alex Graves, giving her a little bit of evidence of Blackstar's connection to Brimstone and Brimstone's like illicit activities of kidnapping illuminated people. Graves said she might be able to work with that, but the evidence was a little like it could be dismissed as like fake and all that. It was going to take her time before she could do anything like that. And these two drifters had no time for any bureaucracy because two of their friends are currently being tortured. So, with a little bit of help and support from Alex Graves and Sheriff Fly, Dex and Porter have a few people's names who are either in town or nearby town, the town of Waypoint, who Graves has basically sent word out that there might be a job for them with Dex and Porter. These are people who Graves and Fly both think are capable enough and crazy enough to go on this extraction mission with Dex and Porter as they target Brimstone. When we last left Dex and Porter, they I think had parted ways temporarily as Porter was heading to the LRC tower to send and receive some messages, and Dex was going to the sheriff's office to take him up on his offer to peruse the armory and see get some supplies that way. You also have already commissioned one photo replicant poncho from Loretta Rose from Rose Blacksmithing, and you simply need to commission the other one and put it on the mayor's tab to get that. That is pretty much the rundown of what has happened so far. We have 2 grit going to Gus, one from Ryak and one from Laura the Bard.
Thank you. I flashed back and I took off the collar.
Gus is boop,
Thank you both
at
for real.
6 grit. Okay, so we will pick up with Dex and Porter. We'll start, I suppose, with Porter. Porter, you're going to the LRC tower. What messages are you sending and receiving?
I believe, if I remember correctly, the first message I was going to send was to Truman and company, kind of alerting them to the timing of our plan.
It was an invitation to attack Brimstone. Yeah. Please respond.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. What is it? What do you say?
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I was just confirming that was as I remember.
A lot, for sometimes, like for like Dex being like, this is the impression of the message I'm sending Isabel asking for advice or something like that, or you sending a message to one of your like to Rund, you know, like the exact language doesn't matter. But in the instance of the FPC, The language matters.
A little bit. I do think it's Truman's LRC that I reach out to.
Mhm.
I guess I can't actually reach the
I think
Raven
that's the
anyway,
only
even
one
if
we
I
have.
Yeah,
wanted
you
to.
don't have the Raven.
Yeah, exactly. I think I just started with like Truman. We found a weak point into Brimstone, and we're going to we're gonna exploit it. Can you be there? I'm trying to remember if there's anything specifically that I remember that would like definitely wheedle him into it, but I think he mostly cares about his team, doesn't he?
I mean,
You know what? Because he kind of made friends with Eloise, right?
No, Eloise hated Truman.
Gus was the
Gus.
only person who made friends
Gus.
with that FPC cell, and it was with specifically Kit, I believe.
I think I do add a line that's like, they've got Gus. I don't know what they're gonna do with him, and I'm just gonna leave it that and send him that message.
Okay.
And then I think I know that there's one person. I don't want to reach out to Rund about this until I know more. But there's a person with family connections that we're meeting with, right?
Oh, yes.
Ex-family.
Yeah,
Lucy
yeah.
Roberts. I think her name was.
Lucille Roberts had some business with the family in the past,
Um,
according to Mayor Graves.
just I suppose can I make a roll to see if I know that name? I don't want to reach out to Rund and like alert her to the presence if you know
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
more, you know, you don't become ex-family without some struggle. So
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and roll connections. I think only gonna be a -2 on this one.
really, okay. I'm gonna take this is my fifth one. -2, you say? All right, 11. Oh, bold. Okay. Well, you know, I did hit 120 and then a second 20 on the reroll.
That's
but
okay.
I was rolling 5 dice. We're fine. Don't have to worry about it. It is 3 successes.
Okay, cool. So you've like you caught wind of Lucille Roberts, like basically like the name kind of rang a bell, and as you're like walking and thinking about it, like, you know, you're like, you know what? I do think I remember there being a time where you were hanging out with Rund.
Mhm.
And Rund was kind of doing double duty, having to kind of like basically Rund had to chauffeur some people from like the docks to a meeting with the family, and you and Rund were basically like there together, and you just kind of like were there too. Like Rund was like, I just need to drop some people off, you know. Because you know, much like the family, not to make a huge deal of like, you can't see these people. That's like, yeah, I'm just gonna like casually put you in the car with like criminals and murderers, you know? And you just be cool about it. We're gonna drop them off, and then we'll go get ice cream or whatever.
It's exactly what was happening.
Yeah. So you and Run had plans for the night, but Run had to drop off some people. Mm-hmm. And you didn't meet Lucille Roberts, but you met Lucille Roberts' sister. Her name is Michelle, and she was one of the like 4 people who Rund had to move from one place to the other, and you didn't catch a lot, but you got the sense that like Lucille was like a black spot on Michelle's like roster, right? Like when like Michelle like made a joke or cracked wise to like one of the people in the car, they like the joking nature of like the joshing came to a sudden and complete stop when Lucille's name got dropped as a counter to Michelle, and everyone was like, and she was like, you know what, fuck you, and like and then like the rest of the car ride was quiet.
Yeah.
After that, like after some time, you knew that the Roberts family is connected. They're within the Acosta family from San Cordero, and basically like you have like met a couple people like in passing or heard of a couple people in passing with the last name Roberts, so you know that they are like they're not like a super high up crazy like legacy within the Acosta family, but they at least have some influence because you've at least crossed paths with like 2 Roberts before, and that doesn't happen a ton, where you're crossing the paths of like multiple people who are like influential enough for Rund to be like kind of touching base with them. So like that's that based on that context, you know that Lucille at that point in time had already crossed the Acosta family.
And that was how long ago?
That was 5 years ago.
Big. All right. So if I had to guess, Lucy is probably in hiding from the Acosta family. Just if I could hazard something, it'd be something like that.
It's either in hiding or she has achieved the extremely difficult situation of being able to actually part ways with the family like cleanly. There's been enough time that perhaps that like that drama is over. You're not sure.
I will reach out to Rund then, and I'll just. I don't think this one necessarily has to be that canted. So it's mostly just going to be greetings. Just thinking about our I guess it has to be a little bit. Just thinking about our arrangement and how to achieve it. Do you remember Michelle Roberts and her sister? Whatever happened to that old gal? Yours, Porter Janus.
Okay. You send that out to Rund. Dex also did at the end of last episode ask you to see if he received any messages from Isabel.
Yes.
I don't believe. What was the last thing you sent her, Dex?
It was like the full rundown of like, hey,
Right. We might die.
Here's what we're
Come
doing.
avenge me.
I'm gonna go shoot up Brimstone Garrison. If I die, please avenge me.
And that you sent that like how long?
Yesterday.
Yeah, no response yet.
I didn't expect one.
I don't know much about Isabel, but I'd assume that mostly her response is going to be like, well, if I hear from him, I hear from him. I guess this is like your big test, right?
Who knows?
You don't know until it happens.
Life is the big test, Porter. That's what I've learned out here.
And then where was Dex? Was Dex meeting up with Floy? Or
yeah. Dex is at the sheriff's office. You start heading that way.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Dex, you went into the sheriff's office. Sheriff Fly is there. He's you actually walk in and he's shaving. There's a little like door open in the hallway and he's finishing up shaving. And he looks over and he goes, "So that was quick." And like finishes up and like washes his face a little bit and starts like drying off his hands. And he goes, "Oh, you here to arm up?"
Yeah. Here to take a look at what you got and what you're willing to part.
All right. Follow me. And he leads you back and the door, like he like turns a key in the door and then the door slides up. And then he walks through, and then you see a couple holding cells that you walk by. There's like someone like passed out in the corner. There's a person who is like covered in like weird runic tattoos and is just like staring at you weirdly as you walk by. And then also you notice that one of the cells like nearby the back just has a dog in it. And the dog like looks really nice. It's like a golden retriever just kind of sitting there watching you. You get to the back, and he opens up another door, and you guys kind of go into a set of hallways that like you can see, like one like has stairs that lead up to probably where Fly lives, and then like around that kind of like stairwell there's a back room that is the armory. It's almost like a vault door. Like he like has a couple locks and then takes a big wheel and turns it, and then it opens up. And you're in a not incredibly huge room, but it has 2 rows of shelves that kind of go like down the center of it, basically allowing for 4 lanes of gear. And you see like there's like just weapons and armor and mods and ammo stacked up, organized really well. At a glance, you see many different kinds of firearms, many different kinds of projectiles, pretty much every ammo you can conceive of. There's even an area where there's a few small explosives and medium explosives. And a lot of the stuff, like it ranges, like some of it's standard, looks like maybe like a couple like Fort Dearborn issue, like rifles and pistols and stuff like that. And then some of it looks like more custom stuff, the stuff you would expect drifters to have. And like those pieces catch your eye because they're a little more specialized, a little more customized. And he shuts the door behind you, hear tink, shh, behind you. And he goes, well, have a look around, or if you're looking for something specific, I can point you in a direction.
You mentioned the shields, not the mod for the shield, the force fields.
Yeah, we're right down this way. He leads you to the right down one of the lanes, and that's where a lot of armoring is. There's different shields of different sizes, and he's able to give you 2 excellent quality small shields. Light shields, I should say. Excellent quality light shields with the shield generator mod, excellent quality built into it. Which is once per day you can lay the shield on the ground and create a domed energy barrier up to 20 feet in diameter. The shield is the center point of this barrier. If anyone shoots at the barrier, it's automatically hit. It's an unopposed test to shoot the barrier, but it has 15 hit points. So they have to do 15 damage to it, and then it breaks. But they can't shoot like through it into you until they've dealt 15 damage to it. He's like, yeah, you can drop this down. Makes it really hard for them to hit you with grenades, or at least gives you makes them waste a few bullets breaking down the barrier to give you time to either reposition or just get ready to shoot back. Let's see. Perfect. He goes, and in a pinch you could throw him. They also have the balanced mod, excellent quality, that lets you just kind of toss it like a frisbee into someone's face.
Well, all right then. I guess Dan, the player, is not looking for anything in specific here. Like, we've got a bunch of people. I don't know what gear besides like some explosives, which are always nice to have. Could I roll like ranged, sort of like as a knowledge skill, or like something to assess like what would and wouldn't be useful?
I don't necessarily think you have to roll anything for that. Like, it's all very well organized and open, and you have time in here, So like just walking around and looking around, like I'll point out a couple things that like at least are interesting to look at, whether or not you actually want them. You do see there's a couple melee weapons that have energy coils built into them. You do see a few, not a ton. You see one light laser firearm and 2 medium laser firearms. It's not proto-martyr tech. This looks like something out of Ion Harbor. But you do notice those as well. There's armor that basically any kind of combo of armor under the sun that you might want. And one thing that does catch your eye as you're kind of like perusing around is in the back. There's like kind of like, it's not really like, it's like a little alcove. It looks like the room should end, but then there's a little alcove with a couple other items in there. And as you're like walking by, like you almost miss this kind of like alcove that leads into this like kind of like open door, like walk-in closet almost in the back. And you see kind of on display there like not like a huge lit up display case, just like kind of there with some
it's where it's stored.
It's where it's stored. You see a suit of power armor, very well crafted power armor. It is light power armor, I believe.
Hey, if you want me to pull up the sheet, I can tell you exactly what this does.
It's light power armor. It's light power armor, and it's hardened. It is. You see that it is the metals that are chosen, and either the metals themselves are chosen to make these colors, or they have been like painted or treated to be these colors. But the armor itself is red, gold, and blue. In the waypoint colors. And you do see right over the cod piece, there is the waypoint star.
Okay, Tommy. I feel sorry. I have to step out of the game for just a second. I feel really important because I've mentioned before that I played Fly and people are going to judge me. Tommy made that up right now.
No, you said that. You said that when we did the waypoint thing.
Star was on the fucking chest.
Is it on the chest? Okay, it's on the chest. Maybe you made.
I heard codpiece at the time, Dan. I'm sorry, bud.
I think maybe you made a joke during it, like that you were gonna put it on the crotch, and I was like, okay, I guess that's where it is.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
So then he is just Captain Waypoint then.
It was the Waypoint flag where a badge would be, Tommy.
Yeah. Okay. So I only remembered the joke you made at the table, not the actual placement of the Waypoint star.
Yes, we were 8 hours into only combat session at that point, I believe.
Yes, that session was 14 hours long.
I spent 4 grit to flashback. He said codpiece.
No, it's not on the cod piece. It's on the chest. That is canon. Continuing forward.
Well, I have to ask, despite knowing the answer. Is that on the table?
If I could guarantee you'd come back, maybe, but no. If you had the time, Loretta could, the time and resources, Loretta could put it together for you.
I think we spent it all on experts.
That's fair. It took a lot of talking to convince her to make some power armor. She tries not to when she can. Proto-martyrs. But that's what it was made for. Actually, and he kind of like walks in. There's like a couple other items like scattered in here. And he goes, if you're doing a stealth job, I mean, those irons you got on your hip are going to be useful, but you're going to want something quiet. Either silencers for those, or you could go with these. And he pulls out like a drawer, and you see 2 extremely finely crafted light projectiles. and you see in one like engraved into one handle there's like a spade, and engraved into the other handle there's a spade and a club on either side, and then on the other handle there's a heart and a diamond on the other side.
Absolutely, there is.
And he goes, "These were at the Battle of Waypoint. They took out quite a few proto-martyrs. They're not really mine to give, but..."
No, they aren't. No, they aren't.
But I do think you're gonna make it back, and I'm willing to. I think it's kind of appropriate for me to gamble on these.
Yeah, I think Dex unsentimentally picks them up and inspects them, and
I'll tell you about them.
yeah, I'm gonna have so much shit to write down later. We'll do it over the break.
I'll drop it. I'll drop it in the chat.
Yeah, they're extremely well made. I don't think they're repeaters, are they? You weren't shooting. This is to step away from the narrative for a second. During the Battle of Waypoint playtest, Addie's character used these to great effect to kill many proto-martyrs.
They were a gift from me.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you get
Because we were in love.
Probably still are. Who knows?
I don't have time for that.
In a roundabout way.
I do love you.
Yeah, I'll take these for sure. Thank you. This is excellent craftsmanship.
Addie's pulling up the stats for those right now, I suppose.
Yeah, I'll get stats for things when we're not in the middle of a very fun and cool scene.
Yeah, and so there's any kind of projectile ammo you want to gather, you can for those. Anything else you can think of, really. Other things, well, like basically
I'm taking the lasers for sure.
You're taking all the lasers. He'll let you take 2 of the lasers. He's not gonna let you take all of his laser inventory.
Okay, well,
there's
1 light and 2 medium, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take a medium and a light.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you ask like if you can have all of them, and he goes, I should hold on to one just in case. So yeah, you get a light laser, light, excellent quality, light firearm with the laser mod at excellent quality. It also has ergonomics at excellent quality, enhanced sights at excellent quality, and that is it.
Okay.
And the medium firearm, ergonomics excellent quality, laser excellent quality. Enhanced sights excellent quality. And that one has also a laser sight at excellent quality, which lets you downgrade the cover of people you're shooting at with it. The ammo capacities, those are locked in at 6 and 12 respectively. And with all laser weapons that aren't proto martyr tech, there's no reloading. Once you fire off those shots, it's donezo.
They recharge.
Yeah, they like recharge, but
it's a while.
Yeah, you gotta wait like a whole day, and then you'll have shots again.
Cool. Yeah, I think unless there's anything else Fly specifically points out or mentions or like tries to hand me, I'm taking some explosives, and then that's it. Although I don't know, Porter, do you?
At this point, Terry DeCastro leads Porter back into the armory.
Excellent. Well, I've got my heavy armor that should get me. Maybe a better pistol or a better long firearm. I mean, I think I'm mostly gonna be knocking people out. If we're trying to stay quiet.
You're either going to want a silencer or projectile weapons if you're trying to take people out silent, or if you're good with melee, I got some energy coils over there.
No, I wouldn't be doing much with that myself personally. No, I've got.
You're right
I've got
there. You don't look
projectile
too
weapon.
good.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, your eyes are all Fatigued? You're a little shaky standing on your feet?
Oh, well, I'm,
You have a long
I'm
night
fine.
last night, Janus?
You have no idea how long my night was. Yeah, no, I'm fine. It'll be fine. Don't take drugs.
All right.
Somebody wants to grab like a cool melee weapon for Gus. That'd be tight. Here on the wind.
It occurred to me. I'll grab the. Yeah, I'll grab the weapons with the energy coil. It's like Gus. Obviously, I mean, are there good fist weapons in here?
I mean, there's fist weapons. They're not like they are good. Everything in here is like excellent quality, well maintained. There are excellent quality fist weapons. They're not like super crazy customized. Like they're not like Gus's with like the pinpoint and stuff like that. It's just kind of like there's like tempered fist weapons.
They're sort of just like standard quality, not manifest standard quality. They're standard quality good stuff.
Yeah. Which like if you wanted to grab a couple of those, you could. The energy coil weapons are there's a medium and a heavy melee weapon, both with energy coils.
I'll grab the heavy melee weapon with the energy coil
Okay.
and fist weapons. And while I'm thinking about it, the best shield that Eloise can lift, which I
Okay,
believe
cool.
is a medium.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take all that stuff.
Cool. Yeah, there's so the melee weapon it's heavy, it is collapsible, so it's a little easier to transport. It has energy coil, and basically it is like it's not a big hammer. It's more like it like has this like weighted cylindrical end with like these like rivets on that like kind of go in a circle around it. I forget what the name of like the melee weapon is that it kind of looks like, but you see like kind of without fully activating the coils, like as you like twist the handle of this thing, like those rivets like open up and a little bit of like energy pours out of them, so you realize like you just twist that and it like locks on, and that like kind of heavy almost slightly tapered end with the rivets becomes just like this like beam of like energy as you like smack things with it. But when you collapse it all down, it's basically just the head of the weapon as you like the handle goes entirely into the body of it. And as far as the shield goes, medium excellent quality shield. It has reflective coating, which is defense against lasers. And also it also has magnetize, which allows if it defends, it can steal people's weapons.
It's cute. Yeah, and I take the amount of explosives that fly is fine with me walking out of the sheriff's office with.
You leave with either 6 small explosives or 3 small explosives and 1 medium explosive.
I'll take the 3 and 1.
Cool. I don't believe those have any additional aspects to them. No. But if you wanted, there's also 2 smoke small explosives that he would let you take.
In addition to the
To the like explosives.
Okay. I will.
Porter sees you picking up the melee weapon for Gus. He's like, "Oh, right, for Gus and the shield for Arrow. That's clever. I guess. I gave you back the hard caliber pistol just in case. I don't know. Should I grab a gun too. Is there something that would be quiet?
How loud is a laser?
I mean, they're not quiet.
All right, yeah, get something quiet. I mean, your little canister launcher ain't exactly loud.
Right. I'm just making sure that we have our backups. You know, I'd rather have something with a little more force behind it, just in case.
Oh, sure. Here's a medium laser.
Sure. All right. It's hefty, isn't it?
Yep.
You're getting into position. He's like seeing Porter kind of like uncomfortably handle like different firearms and stuff. And he's like thinking for a second, and then he goes, "That's all well and good. I might have another thing you might be able to do well with here, Dranus." And he opens up like a locker, and he pulls out a medium firearm that you see is attached to an auto turret, or a heavy firearm that is attached to an auto turret stand. I don't believe you have 6 muscle, right?
No, not even close.
Yeah. And he goes, "This is going to be a bit too hefty for you to shoot, but if you set up the auto turret somewhere, this thing's got a hell of a range on it. It's got enhanced sights. It has a silencer. It's basically like a massive, like 50 caliber, like sniper rifle, built on an auto turret stand." And he like hands you basically like, a little like, one eye, like visor, that you can like attach like on your like forehead. And he goes, "You program that thing, and you can set it up at a good vantage point and go in. And as long as you don't get too much interference, I mean, maybe once you're inside those walls of the garrison, it might be hard for you to get much use out of it. But depending on where you set it up, that thing will shoot where you tell it to."
Might not be a bad way to uncover their cover.
He like nods and points at that. Yeah, the auto turret stand is something that you can program, Porter, and it lets you, it has its own finesse skill of 6, but it lets you shoot it shoots basically automated at the targets you want it to, and it uses your technology skill -2.
Excellent.
But with all of its mods, though, there's more mods to it. Basically, I'm gonna walk through them because the mods. So now that you know how the turret works, these mods will augment that to a point. So it has an auto turret stand at excellent quality. It's an excellent quality heavy firearm. It has an excellent quality silencer. It has an excellent quality auto loader, so it reloads itself. It has excellent quality bolt action. Which means it has fewer bullets, but your skill that was previously at a -2 is now increased by 2. So it negates the auto turret penalty. It just uses your technology skill.
Oh, nice.
But it only has 4 shots before it has to reload. And the auto turret reload is not, or the auto loader reload is not like excessively fast.
Sure.
But you basically get 4 shots with it, and then it has to basically spend an amount of time reloading itself, and then it can go back to shooting. And then it also has ergonomics, which is going to, or no, not ergonomics, laser sight. So it downgrades the cover by 1.
So when I'm controlling it, it's my it's my finesse and my ranged skill, right?
Oh yeah, if you're holding it and shooting it, yes, but you can't because you don't
No.
have a high enough muscle to actually wield
So
this weapon.
whenever it shoots, it uses my tech, not my tech, just my tech skill, right?
Sort of. You can't, like, because of the fact that you can't wield this thing, you have to set it up on the turret to do it.
Right.
Like, it basically, like, it's like a big tripod that comes out below it. And when you like set it up, then at that point it's using finesse attribute of 6, and then your tech at basically no penalty because it negates the penalty.
Great. I have to figure out how to boost my technology because it's at a 6 right now. So,
No bueno.
but we might have somebody else with technology if the tinker is any good.
True. And as you kind of sit
also
there,
getting a big, strong guy who might be able to just use it.
Just shoot it, sure.
as you guys are sitting there with all of your stuff, basically, it's a lot for y'all to carry. You are now like laden with gear. That's like just like in these big duffel bags and like satchels and crates and like and so on. Also whatever ammo you want, mark that down. The most of any particular type of cube you can get is 3. I think the maximum amount of cubes of ammo you can get, like in total between the two of you, is 15.
Okay.
He like watches you guys load up and everything. He like points out like the different ammo, helps you find the things you're looking for. And then he kind of like chuckles and goes, "Well, you have some pretty neat toys now. Maybe, just maybe, you can take on an entire fucking garrison of brimstone." You taking Alex's recommendations?
We hired everybody.
All right.
Seemed like the most prudent thing to do.
Sure. Well, any of this stuff you don't end up losing, I'd appreciate it back.
Of course.
I suppose I won't expect many of the grenades to return.
Oh, what do you mean? This is a quiet operation, Sheriff. Things go right, you get them all back.
I'll stand by what I said.
We do truly appreciate your help, though, sir.
It's what I got to offer. Now, if Fawcett's there and you down him and you bring me back that tech, I'll take care of it. But also, if you just blow that stuff up, I mean, you take him out, it should just take care of itself. Unless he's disabled it, which I have known a couple people able to do. So, if he has it functional.
From what I hear, it never leaves his side. I mean, I guess there would be an advantage in wanting people to think it would blow up, but I guess safer to assume that it will.
I think so. Either way, if it blows, or if it doesn't blow itself up and you scrap it down and tear it apart, that's fine by me too. I don't need to do it myself. But if you can use Ms. Reynolds' Omni tool to take some images of it, I've only encountered a rifle like that one once before, and I've heard of a couple of them in existence. The one I had, I'm not exactly sure where it is now. And if it's gone and gone, that's great, but I'd like to know.
I think Dex like looks around at the vault they're in, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody walked out of here with a proto-martyr rifle?
It wasn't here, it was in transit. Governors needed verification of... There's a whole bureaucratic bit of nonsense. I wanted to parade it around, show that the proto-martyr threat was over. I recommended against it, but we had to play ball. We ruffled quite a few feathers after after the crisis. But it got away. If it was in here, it'd still be in here. Or it would have been melted down. Or a nice buckle or two.
I'll look for any identifying marks. Try and get close up of them for you.
Appreciate it. But there's no guarantee, as Mayor Graves has made it abundantly clear to me, there's no guarantee that Henry Fawcett's going to be at Brimstone when you try your little suicide mission. So I'll put out feelers and see if I can track him down one way or another.
I would appreciate that.
I don't know if they'll give him another, but he was traveling with what I would guess is an extremely illuminated person who was conditioned by Brimstone under his control. My advice, if you have someone track him down, shoot him from very far away and be done with it.
Noted.
Sheriff, Evan, I've, obviously never come upon something like this on my own. Is it that seriously deadly? Is it that much of a problem?
What, proto-martyr tech?
Even just this laser rifle specifically.
Yeah. There's very few things in this world that I can say are unequivocally whole the way through to the core evil. And proto-martyrs and everything they put their hands on fall into that category. You don't hold that kind of power in your hands and not do something terrible with it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Like when the proto-miter crisis was happening, my parents were still in Markham's Landing, fair enough away that it was all just stories. So
yeah, war didn't make its way to the west, I suppose.
It's hard to get people to talk about, so thank you for being straightforward.
I imagine most people who had to deal with it would like to forget.
I would imagine.
But I can't abide that. Not after what I've seen and the people I lost.
We'll do right by you.
See to it that you do. Because I won't be there to loom over your shoulder, Janus, and stop you from doing drugs. And he opens up the door to the vault.
It was supposed to be a joke. My timing's off. It's all the headache and everything. It's not what I meant.
Hell of a hang.
Because he did drugs.
All right. Thanks so much.
And you are let out of the sheriff's office.
Yeah. We'll load up pit stop like almost immediately.
Yeah.
This is a war, automaton horse.
So a little bit of like, unless you guys have anything like super specific.
So I go and I tell Loretta to make another.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't imagine that's a scene.
Yeah, exactly. Like you have to check in with her anyways, so she can take your measurements for the poncho. It's really easy to have Porter there too, and to put it on Graves's tab. Was there anything else you guys wanted to get into? Like, I mean, short of like hunting down the people who you're expecting to work with or anything like that, like just literally like any gear acquisition or personal prep that you needed to do. I don't really know what kind of timetable the two of you are working at. You know for a fact that out of the 6 recommended people, 4 of them are in town right now. One of them is arriving on the last train tonight. And then one of them is 2 days out of town and may or may not have been sent for by Alex Graves yet, because she was kind of waiting. Like basically she had brought up that it would take a couple days, and you said, could she follow? And then all that came from that was like, yeah, if that's what you want. So like you haven't sent for that one in particular.
I guess
that's Parappa, the demolitions expert.
How long does Loretta
Oh.
need to finish? Like, what's the quickest we're out of here with Ponchos?
She does it pretty fast because
Photo
she's
replicant, not just regular Poncho.
she's she's prioritizing it. A day.
Okay, then yeah, I think I stop at Mayor Graves and we'll see if it's possible for Parappa to like meet us at a designated spot nearby, like not nearby, but like close by Brimstone.
Yeah. She goes, well, the only way she's gonna get there in any hasty capacity is if we charter 2 flats from Wyatt Chafee. He's planning on flying you to wherever you want to set up outside Brimstone. And he'd have to double back and get Parappa and fly her over. Uses up more fuel. It's gonna raise his rate. I mean, if y'all have the spurs to cover it, I think 20 ought to do it.
I've got the spurs to cover it. If that's the easiest way to do it.
That'll get her there not too long after y'all set up.
Great, let's do it.
Good.
Oh, and then I think we were gonna get as many first aid cubes as could be bought with the remainder of Grace's tab.
Smart.
I don't think. Oh no! Yeah. That would be. 10 first aid cubes.
Excellent.
Hey, well, that's being...
Sorry, I was just gonna ask. Did we want to decide what kind of ammo we got?
I'd have to pull up a sheet and start looking at ammo. I kind of figured I would do that
Do
over
that
the
over
break
the break,
to
yeah,
decide
fine.
what ammo we have.
Absolutely.
That's fair.
Sorry, what was that, Roman?
I just want to give a shout out to the Pack Walk for gifting a sub.
Yeah.
Thanks, my dog.
Pack
Appreciate
walk?
you.
Also, +1 grit to Gus from Argitlob.
Hell yeah.
Hey.
A lot of love from the chat tonight. You love to see it. I think we're gonna cut over and Gus is dead, but I appreciate it just in case he's not.
That
More
is
than likely,
that
yeah.
is not the case. You are not dead. How?
You have the grit to spend to avoid the GM fiat of we cut to you and you're dead.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Eloise and Gus are unconscious for at least the next day.
Wow.
So what's up? You look like you want to say something, Mel?
Oh, just does that mean that our injuries progress?
You would hope so, but no.
Okay.
You do not benefit from a rest in your current state. But yeah,
I suppose there's the one thing that Porter would want to do at some point. Probably not while it's open, but just on a random, mid-afternoon trip. I think he's gonna go to the Triptych Church.
okay.
And he's just going to, I assume, the pond out back that is able to be used and accessed at any day, and he's just going to kind of do a soft prayer into it.
Sure. Yeah, you go back, the Triptych Church, like this, it's one of the larger Triptych churches you've seen. It's got the iconic domed top with the iconography of the various religions that are that have like preachers there, or at least have been practiced there before. As you go by, you can see from the outside the like stained glass windows that like have different scenes from like Icthitarianism and Triptycism and Astraean and other religions. And as you kind of get to the back, you see there's like a nice little like lot with like some stone walls that are easily accessed, basically like a nice little garden. It's got good sight lines so that like the Astraeans can like pray out there at night and so on. It's got a few telescopes, and then there is an Icthitarian like prayer pond there. And so you're able to like go up there. There's a couple people like who use this as like a cut through, or it's like a nice little part of town. And you walk by there, you kneel down on like this really like nicely hewn, it's stone, but it's comfortable. Like it's like designed to be like knelt on. And you duck down and put your face in the water and give a prayer to the fish god. And as you finish and sit back up, you do see like over by the church proper, just kind of like looking at you and like giving you a nod. There's a person you understand to be one of, if not the only Icthitarian preacher in town, Emil Hangletter, who is like most like a lot of like triptych preachers do dress up like they are always pretty presentable, right? They have like they always have like a gray coat with like the denotion of what kind of preacher they are for the triptych church and all that. But like, and you've seen Icthitarian preachers too, and a lot of them have like somewhat traditional garb that like is universal amongst them. But one thing that you caught your eye about Emil Hangletter is like he never looks like he's not wearing anything like traditional. Like he's got like a necklace with like some like icons and beads of like the Icthitarian faith that's like pretty big and like hangs like under his shirt. But like this dude always basically looks like he's like about to go to the lake to go fishing. He's wearing like big boots and like overalls and has like a grimy hat and everything. And like you swear like the only thing missing is like a pole over his shoulder and a tackle box. Like this guy. But he like sees you like pull up and like grab one of the towels to like wipe your face and put it in the basket, and he just gives you like a little tip of the hat as he goes walking back into the church.
Yeah, I doff my cap back at him. Kind of take a deep breath. And I think that Porter's family is something that he pushes out of his mind at most moments, just so he can, you know, keep moving forward and forward and forward. But he kind of allows himself to remember his father and mother and Monarch and Markham's Landing, and just kind of like take a meditative moment before he goes back to the inn.
Sure. So unless you guys have much else to do, like you spend that day kind of like shopping and everything, and then
Oh, I forgot we didn't recover, because Eloise took her armor off to surrender, but we didn't recover Gus's armor. So I would like to grab. You said there's armor in every combination and style.
pretty much.
If there is heavy, fitted, hardened armor that has anything else on it, if nothing else, just that would be great. So I can throw this big stick at Gus, throw these fist weapons at him, throw this armor at him, and be like, "Get up, old man, we're busting out of here."
Yeah, it is. It has fitted. It has hardened. And it also has vented and adjustable buoyancy.
That will be useful for the sewer portion of the escape.
Cool. So, you're able to rest up that evening, Dex and Porter. And then you go into the next day, and as you wake up and move your way down into the Free State Bed and Brew proper, you see a motley crew of individuals seeming to wait for you. You hear them before you see them, as they seem to be having lively conversation with each other. Perhaps many of them have worked together before in the past. And if not, they're starting to get to know each other. Loudest of all of which is a man who you can only assume is Arthur Ross. He has a military short haircut. He is wearing like openly just like combat armor. On his shoulder is mounted firearm. Leaning next to him against the bar is a massive gun as well. And then like in the stool next to him is a big pouch with like more weapons poking out of it. And he's just sitting there. He's smoking a cigar inside, which is actually not too uncommon. Chatting. He's got a big old like mug of beer, even though it's like 9 a.m. And he's laughing and chatting with a very muscular but like basically like average like height and frame, but like good muscles packed on that smaller frame. Like he himself, Arthur Ross, is like 6'5", fucking like, you know, like 4-foot shoulder span or something. Like he's built like a friggin' tank. And you also notice like he carries himself and moves with a way, like he's got like a bushy mustache with like scruffy like facial hair, tons of tattoos and scars, but like this guy's like 27. Like at a glance you'd be like, oh, that's like some 50-year-old war vet, and this dude's like 27 years old, just like just like smoking. He looks like he's been in the Marines for his entire life. And he's talking to someone who only next to him seems kind of like small, which you can probably guess is your tinkerer, because she has built around her chest, like almost in like a bandolier type thing, what you can identify as an omni tool with like multiple ports that she can like pull things out of and reconfigure them. Right now she's actually she's messing with shot glass. Seemingly for fun, she is etching the shot glass as she is talking to Arthur Ross, like laughing at his jokes, talking to him, and she is like slowly sculpting this shot glass into like a small chalice with like a glass cutter. Also there, kind of being part of the conversation, but mostly just kind of like drinking and like chiming in every once in a while, is a man in his like mid 40s probably. He's got a wild shock of hair that is like pulled back into a really messy bun. He's got a scruffy beard that looks like it hasn't been cut in like weeks, if not months. And he is like hunched over, wearing like furs and everything. You guess that this is probably your survivalist, Oscar McCoy. And those are the three you see immediately. And as you kind of walk down and like get a little bit more in, at least probably Dex, because I think Dex has. Do you have the vigilance tree?
No.
Oh, okay, I'm just so used to you always having it. Yeah.
You just know how badly I wish I did.
Yeah.
Actually, Porter has the vigilance.
Yeah,
tree.
probably Porter's the first to notice. As there is a woman who is dressed actually like she's like the only one who doesn't look like she's like ready to go for a fight. Like she is wearing just like normal clothes. But she like is coming out from like a different room, or like from like one of the tables. Like she had just like talked to a server, and as she goes to join them, like you almost don't notice her, because she just like, even though she is casually moving through a public space, like she like moves with like a swiftness and like agility that like almost makes you like completely miss her, until like you're like, oh wait, there's another person there, as she just kind of like appears into the scene, and like reaches over and grabs like a wine glass and like takes a sip. And Porter, you can see sort of a family resemblance of Lucille Roberts with her sister Michelle. She's got like dark like kind of dirty blonde hair pulled back into like a French braid that ends like just at her shoulder blades. And she looks like pretty like athletically built, not in the same way as like Jess or Arthur, Her muscles look a little more lithe as she just sits down, takes a sip, and like chimes in with like kind of cutting off the conversation, being like, "Looks like our employers are here." And Arthur Ross turns and goes, "How do you do, Arthur Ross?" And he reaches out a hand to shake whoever grabs it first.
Porter Janus, pleased to meet you.
He grabs your hand, like crushing it a little bit as he shakes. And he goes, I hear we're biting off maybe a little bit more than we can chew, eh?
Not from the look of you, mate.
I like him. What's your deal, small fry? He says to Dex.
Dexter Bailey, nice to meet you.
Pleasure. Damn, those are some nice irons.
They'll do.
He turns back and is like, "Ooh, looks like we got us a slinger." I always love working with a gunslinger. You can always expect him to do something real stupid that draws all the attention away.
I think Dex like nudges Porter up, like this is your part.
Yeah, all right. Well, I do appreciate the four of you coming along. I don't know how much the mayor communicated to you, but as you say, it's not going to be the easiest job in the world.
Yes, we're trying to break into Garrison. By my guess, based on what's happened recently in town and what I've heard about you two, it must be Brimstone, yes? Says Jess Weaver as she sets down her perfectly engraved, like glass carved chalice. Behind the bartender is just like watching, like horrified from afar. The bar is like covered in like glass dust, but like the bartender's not fucking with this morning.
That's exactly right. The fact of the matter is we've had a couple of friends be taken in by Brimstone, and we need to get them back.
Okay.
Did any of you have experience with that outfit, or do I need to expound on that?
Lucille speaks up going, "I don't think we need to know any of the reasoning behind what you're doing. We've been paid. We understand we're going in to retrieve some people that got. I find out it's best not to ask why someone's behind bars and just let them loose."
I appreciate that. Straightforward. That's how I'd like the deal to be, as much as possible.
"I'd like a little more information," says Oscar McCoy. "If it's all the same to you, Lucy."
You must be Mr. McCoy, is that right?
In the flesh.
Pleasure to meet you. I love what you've done with the skins there. So the Brimstone Garrison there. Well, if you've noticed traveling, at least in the Fort Dearborn area, there's been kind of an anti-illuminated movement, more so than at least I've noticed in other places. And Brimstone is attached to a group like that. And they seem to think that my friends can help them with their aim of kidnapping and subjugating illuminated people for their own, what I can only assume are nefarious means, judging by the way that they've gone about it so far. Our aim is to get our friends out of there, and if we can, at the same time, get as much information on what Brimstone is doing and their relationships and their history, and get that out of there as well. Hopefully, with everybody intact and alive.
All right. Well, I know that region. I've been by Brimstone a few times. I've actually once or twice, not necessarily for the brigade set up there, the 108th, but been commissioned by Fort Dearborn Militia at large to hunt game around there and keep the routes clear. So I know that place, and I've been probably closer to Brimstone than some others. I assume. I don't know. I don't know many of you folks too well. And yet we're already best friends.
Porter doesn't laugh, but I do. So, is there a way that we could get close to it without being observed?
Around this time of year, there's a creek that's probably dried up for at least another month or two before it starts getting a little more wet around there. If we lay low, that will get us close. I mean, nothing's going to get us up to the walls without us having to dodge patrols and whatnot, but
Nothing like a drainage pipe that leads directly to the creek bed. That's a dang shame.
no, I ain't ever seen nothing like that. I think they're a little more secure than that. But
That's what I figured. Fine.
either way, we'll get us pretty close, and then that can at least get us part of the way. But if we're gonna try and go up close on there, they do a pretty good job of tamping down the ground around there, giving themselves good sight lines. It's hard to move up on a garrison undetected. And they got patrols around there, which, you know, when I was hunting around there, I had got harried a couple times by new captains and lieutenants or whatnot that were leading their first patrol and didn't know that I was in the area. And then I had to show them the papers, and it was all a whole damn hassle. And by then, everything in a 20-mile radius was going to be knowing we was there, and so I'd have to reset all my traps and reposition everything. I'm sorry, what?
hopefully we have a distraction lined up for that. We'll be able to at least take care of some of the local trouble that we could run into. What we really need is to get inside the walls themselves, and we've also got a demolitions expert on the way. Hopefully, here, being able, the plan is for them to meet us there. So if we can get close to the walls, then
Demolitions expert. Who are you referring to? What is their name?
A person by the name of Parappa.
Jess's jaw tenses a little bit, and she goes, "Well, as far as saboteurs go, she is okay."
Oh, you have a history with her.
Oh, I mean, I like to build things. I like to create, and she loves to see things explode.
I see there's kind of a clash of personalities.
When I work with her, I make sure I don't give her anything that I don't expect to lose.
Well, some might say that having the two of you on one team would bring us balance, you know, a creator when needed and a destroyer on the other hand.
Robert says, "You're cute."
Thanks, I try.
Have we met before?
No, though, by chance, I might be acquainted with somebody that might be family to you, another Roberts, Michelle.
She pulls back a little bit and takes a very eloquent like sip of her wine right as you start like saying the words. Like she sees where the sentence is going, so she's already raising the glass, and you say family and she's sipping on the wine, and you say Michelle and she finishes sipping the wine, and she sets it down like gently, like lips her lips, and goes, "How's she been?"
Oh, this was 5 years ago, so I couldn't speak to her now.
Ah. And she stops it right there, and then Arthur goes, Is this gonna be a problem? You're talking about her sister, I assume?
Is a problem? I certainly hope not.
I don't want, romantic entanglements in a crew always throws things for a loop. Now, if you have beef, y'all go out and settle it outside. You get that beef squashed. You quash that beef immediately, and then we can go on a run together. But if we're going on a job and you had relations with her sister and she's none too happy about it, then I might have to back off. That seems like a recipe to die. I need everyone's heads on straight out there.
Mr. Rock, I promise you there is no beef needed to be quashed. No romantic tensions.
This is my new favorite operator on Manifest.
Lucille goes, Michelle would never, Arthur. And like taps him on the shoulder gently, and he goes, all right. And then goes back to drinking.
So
Ready to kill anything, and knows that romantic entanglements on a crew are a recipe for disaster.
So, as I said, we don't have the entire team collected, but right now the plan is for us to get as close as possible. We've got a transport which should get us there kind of ridiculously quick from what I hear.
Yes, by way of Wyatt Chafee's plane. It's always a pleasure to fly on that. He has no idea how it works.
That should be exciting then. You'll be there to kind of give him pointers when he needs it, won't you?
I mean, it's never worked before. He just does whatever he wants.
Well, I haven't heard any tales of him crashing yet, so hopefully this won't be the one.
Lucille goes, I've always thought Mr. Chafee had a sort of natural talent and glow about him. Though he is a strange character. He's always going on about just going with the flow, he says. It's almost like a religion to him, but I ain't ever heard anyone else talk about it, but he talks about it like it's some kind of deity.
That's not a bad mindset to have for a job like this. You know, it might change once or twice once we actually meet the garrison as an obstacle.
You do just love spinning things into this positive, don't you?
I find it helps me get through the entire thing to the end. That way I can look back on it and look at all the terrible things and say, hey, it's a good thing we got through that, right?
So how long ago did you leave the city? 10 months? 11? Or has it been a full year yet?
So it's getting there.
Yeah, a little more time out here and you'll realize don't always have a bright side. And she like taps you on the cheek gently.
I hope that this is the kind of story that you can tell anybody who wants to hear it. You know, your friends at the bar, the people trying to give you money to hire you for a job. I hope
Tell this story to people.
Well, I mean, not the specifics, right? I mean, you can embellish.
We're breaking into a Fort Dearborn garrison. Can't tell this story to people.
That's fair enough. So I hope that this is the kind of story that you know about in your heart and that gives you confidence in the future that you can do any job that you get hired for and you can, I don't know, tell lies about at a bar or just enough to perhaps convince somebody that you're worth something. From what I see here, you're one head of a team. It's only going to work if we all work at our best capacity, right?
Sir, yes, sir.
Is everybody on board for this, or are we gonna have tension? Can I roll my empathy talent to gauge how everybody's feeling about the plan so far?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, if you could find out if Jess is in love with Parappa, because that's what I think it is.
Sure. Yeah. Can I? Is that a called shot?
So, for simplicity's sake, this is an unopposed test. And to keep it simple, I will go ahead and just give you a couple negatives and let it apply to the whole group instead of us rolling like a bunch of individual tests for each person. Because the empathetic talent as it plays is you do it on one person at a time. I don't want to roll that many times. We'll just have one roll. I'll give you a small negative, and the information will just kind of apply based on everyone.
And it's a personality roll, which is just my personality stat plus 4.
Yeah, and I'm gonna give you you're trying to read 4 people, so I'm gonna just give you a -3.
-3. I'll take
So
it.
it's personality +1 is your target. Unopposed test. Go for it.
Okay.
Grave misfire.
Don't even say those words out loud.
Porter
please.
accidentally tells them that he's beholden to the Marcos Landing family.
Honestly, be worried for my next roll. It seems that I'm still double shaken
You're just gonna misfire on any 20s you roll.
on absolutely everything.
That's 5 hits.
All right, dope. Okay. Two people are absolutely certain that they're going to live and that everyone else is going to die. And that is Arthur Ross and Lucille Roberts. The two of them are 100% like, it doesn't matter what the plan is. Both of us are going to live.
Right.
And they think that you're going to die. They think that Jess and Oscar are going to die. Like, they're like, this is a doomed plan, but I got paid and it'll be fine. And that doesn't mean they're going to half-ass the job. Like, they're not going to, but like, they don't actually think you guys are going to succeed.
Right.
Jess is, has an open, like you can see that she is, every time anything happens, it's like she is adding tallies to like an equation in her head that is to figure out like whether or not she thinks it's going to work. She doesn't necessarily think she's in any particular danger because as the Tinkerer, like she's going to be kind of in the back. She's not even sure if she's going to go in, like that kind of thing is like kind of where she's like where she's sitting at.
Super going in.
She's like, she's not 100% sure what her role is yet in this, and what you guys will need her to do.
Mhm.
But you think that she's going to keep that equation running in her head consistently. And you also think that she might demand a promise of more payment if she thinks that you are, because you remember specifically Alex Graves said her payment method is different and weird. Basically, like she doesn't take she doesn't agree to a price and then just like end it there. She always like, you can tell now, like with what Graves said and what you read on Graves's face, like she like does like a low rate and then like cost of parts. And then like she adjusts her rate based on it, like the job as the job is going on, which makes her like difficult to work with. And so you think like, depending on what you might ask her to do, she might just go like, no, unless like you can promise me this much more money and like stuff like that. And then she'll like help you up to that point fully. Like you think like if you get there and you like have her like help like bypass like a high-tech door and you're like, all right, come on in. And then she's like, if I'm going to do that, I need X amount of spurs extra. And you can't convince her that you're going to make good on that promise. She'll go, okay, cool. That's fine. I'll secure this area and make sure this door never closes and I'll see you when you come out. Like she's not going to give up on the job, but she is going to stop her work at the point where she thinks she has not been adequately paid for it.
Exactly. Right.
She values herself way higher than everyone else does. Oscar is not fully following everything that's going on. He knows that you guys are going against Brimstone. He knows that you're going to save some of your friends, and he knows that he's going to get you there. A lot of the subtext and like interplay between all of you is like, he's just like, this dude doesn't understand people at all. He's just like, whatever. They're just like fucking axe handle hounds, like pissing on things and trying to like become like the dominant one. Like this doesn't matter to me. I know that I'm going to go there and I'm going to take them places. So like he's on board, but also like he is not interested in whatever like this like whole like posturing, like joking thing is. This dude doesn't like people very much. He's like, he's fine with some people and he doesn't hate them, but like he doesn't play social games. He just talks straight. So you think if he ever has a problem, he'll just be like, I'm not comfortable with that. And he'll just tell you immediately, like, this dude doesn't really have a filter.
Fair enough.
And as far as the question for Jess and Parappa, you are 100% sure that they are ex-lovers. Jess is no longer like it was a while ago and Jess is no longer pining after Parappa, but like there's that like tension of like, look, we've both seen each other naked.
Sure.
And it kind of ended a little messy and like it's, you know, the wounds are closed but the scars might still be there and like you think that those two are going to butt heads just because like they're going to argue like an old married couple every once in a while. But also like you think that Jess already was sure it was going to be Parappa. Like as soon as she saw the crew that was coming together, Jess was like, fuck it. It's gonna, oh, I bet fucking Graves reached out to Parappa. Okay.
Right. So keep them working as close as possible for the emotional drama. Got it.
Yeah, this is Jess and Parappa are almost the thing that would make Arthur Ross want to quit because he doesn't like romantic entanglements. But you can tell by Jess's body language and the way like she's reacting to talking about Parappa that it's not a romantic entanglement. It is the fallout of a long ended relationship that ended because they argued a bunch.
Excellent.
And you're pretty sure just by, reputation that Wyatt Chafee, who's not here with your 5 successes, Wyatt Chafee's just a swell guy. He's just gonna
Every team needs one, right?
He's just a nice guy.
Good. Well, if there's anything that I can do to help you stack up for this job, or if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I think the plan's for us to leave. What do you think, Dex? Tonight?
Yeah.
Tonight.
So.
Oh, we have more time. Hey, another round.
Now, don't have too many, El, right? We need to be sharp for this.
Please. I haven't found too many yet.
Fine, I'll do one with you. Why not?
It's more like, get in there, and he grabs you and like yanks you onto the stool. And if you hang out and drink with Arthur Ross, it is only 45 minutes into this 9 a.m. binge drink session that he is instigating. It's about 45 more minutes and he starts playing like 5-finger fillet with a knife.
Yeah. I
Gus isn't
don't
dead. He's just never
down.
getting out.
At a certain point in the day, like if you hang out with them, like, or even if you don't, like if you're just around, they do get moved to the Golden Spike by Amanda Gibbs, who is like, get the fuck out of my bed and brew. What are you doing? This is not a saloon. And like they don't make a fuss out of it. They're not like they're not gonna, they don't actually aren't treating anyone shitty. You actually see Jess drop down like 10 spurs on the table or on the bar as she like, and then puts the shot glass like on the stack of 10 spurs and like hands it over to the bartender. Like these people just are like, they live a life of always being probably dead tomorrow. And so they are just doing the things that make them most happy at that given moment. And they are trying, like, they don't want to actually inconvenience anyone after a certain point. So like when they're asked to leave, they're like, yeah, that makes sense. and like Jess is like, here, I know I made a mess, and here's a really pretty like chalice carved out of glass, like like that kind of thing.
I made you a set.
I made you a set, yeah.
So before I don't spend the entire day drinking with him, but can I tell if Arthur Ross's gun is nicer than the auto turret one that we're gonna use?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, for him at least.
Sure.
Like yours is like a dedicated like sniper rifle, and he could use it to probably extremely good effect. You know, he has the muscles for it, and judging by the weapons he's toting around, he probably has the skill for it.
Right.
But the weapon he carries is like it is the like physically it is the size of like an assault rifle, but when he sets it down, like it hits with a thud of like a minigun. Like this thing is like massive, and like you realize like the bullets in the magazine are like huge, and only like someone with his skill could like handle the recoil of those bullets on that small of a frame. Basically, he's made like a friggin' heavy machine gun carbine.
Wow.
Excellent. At some point, then I will definitely peel off from the group and go to the LRC tower.
Okay. At this point, we are going to cut to Brimstone.
Excellent.
I need both of you to roll a negate test at a -4. The both of you being Eloise and Gus.
We haven't gone to rest, so we haven't healed, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. That's fine. This is gonna go great. And by that I mean I'm rolling for ones.
Wait, yeah. We got knocked out. What's our health at? Are we just at
1.
0 HP?
You're at 1.
Okay. Let's see, that's 3.
Grave misfire.
You grave misfired, Eloise?
I rolled 3 20s.
Come
Oh my
on.
God.
Come on.
Can you remind me what compromised is?
I think it's temporary, right? You guys have the injury sheet up, right?
I don't. That's what I
Yeah, give me
asked.
1 second. I got
It's
it.
a -1 reliability on all tests.
Okay. It's not temporary.
Cool. So I'm still that. Great. Sorry, -3, did you say?
No, I said a -4.
Cool. Aha! I did not grave misfire.
I guess I will use my grit to lower this to just a regular misfire.
Okay.
Scrape by.
So you're at 4
That
now.
puts me to 4. Yeah.
No hits.
Okay. So Eloise, you wake up first.
Okay.
You wake up. Any shine that you still have is gone.
Joke's on you. I didn't have
Cool.
any.
And it seems like you are being woken up as like intentionally, like Pruitt is waking you up. You are completely restrained. You are hooked to different but similar machines as to what you were hooked. You're in a different part of the lab. You do see as you wake up, in that same area of the lab with you is Gus, who is still unconscious. The lab looks like it's been put back together. It looks like some time might have passed. Like Pruitt's clothes are different. His nose is healed.
I don't think I saw that, but
He's got like
good to
some
know.
bruising there, but like,
got like a little band-aid.
yeah.
Sure.
But he sees you waking up. He's like putting something in your IV, and that's waking you up. Unfortunately, you see the blinking light on the console behind him that says like that is showing that he is finishing saving his notes. You didn't wake up on your own, so you didn't get to see any of the notes. And he wakes you up. You wake up groggy, so you're going to be at a -3 for all tests. You are completely restrained in containment manacles. And he like lets go of the syringe, keeping you kind of groggy. Pulls out the needle, looks at you, and then he grabs something else and he goes, "Can you hear me, Ms. Reynolds?"
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a little something here. Will help you make you feel better. He injects something else in, and you regain you regain 6 shine.
6 shine, but 1 hit point.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
And you feel this kind of warmth return to your body as he injects whatever it is he's injecting. You see it has a slight glow to it. And he's like watching, and like you can tell your eyes are actually glowing as this happens. And he smiles at that. He goes, all right. And he looks over at like Gus, and you see like there's both of you have like there's like all of these like vials and centrifuges and stuff. It looks like basically for however long you've been unconscious, he has been collecting sample after sample after sample on you. And then he goes, all right. Ms. Reynolds. He presses like a button. He goes, experiment 74. And he walks up to you and goes, tell me again, you have the ability to find items if you're familiar with them?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to take this off. I'll make you nice and comfy. And he reaches out and like unclips the mind cuff. And as he's removing it, his hand that is touching you like pulses with warmth. And I need you to roll
Award it. Award it.
either warding or discipline.
Yeah, award.
I am going to bamboozle you. You are already at -3 because you're groggy because you're misfire.
Right.
So
I'm operating currently at a -6, just so you know, because of all the hit point damage.
Sure. But you can go it strong. So I'm going to give you a -3. So you're now at a -9 total.
9.
And your grit goes up to 7 because I bamboozled you 3 times.
Okay. Hold on. This is really important. This is so important. I wasn't ready for this to happen right now. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. It's fine. Okay. I do go it strong.
Okay, so you're still at a -3 because your go it strong does not stop you from.
And then I have 1 grit left, right?
Yes, you have 1 grit left that you can use on this test.
Okay, I bamboozle with that 1 grit.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll go ahead and give you. You're at. You still have 1 grit because Carnaxis just gave you a grit.
Thank you.
So in total, you're at 4 grit. 3 of which is.
I can't use any of it right now.
No, you can use Carnaxis. The viewer grit is special. You get that when you get that. But the 3 bamboozle grit that's coming your way hasn't actually landed yet.
I bamboozle a second time.
Okay.
Okay. Oh man, I wish I wasn't compromised right now. I can't do anything about this roll. This is just how it is. Okay, that's fine.
Okay, you're up against a 10.
I'm defending now.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have a 10.
Okay, I have 2 10s, so he succeeds with 2.
Frick.
Just checking a thing real quick. Might want to spend more grit.
It's a short-lived effect at that point.
Okay, that's good enough. Prit puppeteers you. And in the moment that you feel that warmth on your face, your vision blacks out because not only does he puppeteer you, he also has you accept his mind link. And he shares memories with you. You are seeing a memory from the point of view of a child. Walking next to an adult man holding their hand. This man is wearing a long, elegant, like coat, that, looks, it is extremely well crafted. It looks armored. It has intricate designs like on the cuffs. It's very like ornate, but it is also well worn, and like it's not poor kept, but like you can see that it has been on the trail recently and hasn't been treated since. The child is looking down at the man's feet as he is holding hands, and you see these like riding boots with spurs, walking down a rocky like riverbed. It seems like probably in the garden, given like the vegetation. Beautiful crystal clear water flowing alongside, and you hear the chinking of the spurs, and the kid is looking down, and then glances up to the left, and you see this. There's this river that is part of that's like an offshoot of this like canyon river, like this river in a canyon in a massive forest that these two are walking through. It's this beautiful scenic view. And across and down the river, the canyon a little bit, you see this massive structure, this gorgeous, extremely ornately designed, almost like castle built into the side of this like rock wall that oversees this river. It has almost like Gothic style like stipples on it, but it's not like dark. It's not like when you hear Gothic style, like a lot of time you think it's like black and like gray. Like this thing is like, it's almost like a cathedral, and it's got this beautiful long like stone bridge that crosses over the like kind of canyon that this river has carved. And you see beautiful like ornate, like it would look like a church if a Christian church existed on Manifest, like a Catholic church, like one of those like old like miracles of the world type churches. But triptych churches don't necessarily look like this, so you don't identify it as a church. It looks like a castle. And it's got like, it looks very defensible. It's got like the looks like the part of that stone bridge does have a draw that can come up. You see like the stairwells that kind of go down to like a little dock on the river, like they are made out of stone and go like in what is it, a counterclockwise, whatever castles do to make it so it's harder for people who are attacking to push the advantage from below. Its craftsmanship is otherworldly to you. And you get a glimpse of that as the kid looks over his shoulder at it for a second, and then looks more at the adult, and not up at the face of the adult yet, but you see the eyes rest on the guns that the adult man has strapped to his hip. The coat tucked behind the grip. These guns are potentially the most beautiful pistols you have ever laid eyes on, Eloise. And you're not sure if that's your thought or the thought of the child, as a significant amount of this memory that is being shared with you is visual, but also like emotional. It is the feelings revolving around these guns is what is being transmitted to you. You didn't really have anything, but you get this wave of emotion and feeling around this gun. It is a beautifully crafted 6-shooter with a highly polished silver frame, golden ornate inlays, and the grip of which is this kind of like almost marble looking like stone ivory material that the kid like fixates on and looks at. And then the man lets go of the kid's hand and like kneels down to like fill up his canteen in the little creek. And the kid like starts reaching out for the gun. And like all this kid wants to do is like touch this gun. That's all he wants. And like you feel that in his heart, like it's a thing that he's not allowed, but like for whatever reason that like ivory is very fascinating to him. And he reaches out, and before he can get his hands on it, the man with like callous, like rough hands, like grabs his wrist like a little too hard and like tweaks his wrist a little bit, and turns and goes, "Gonna have to try harder than that, son." And you see the man's face for the first time. He's maybe like in his late 20s, early 30s. He's got long, almost like silvery blonde hair pulled back into a ponytail. He's got like wavy curls in the ponytail. He has a really, really well styled mustache and like little goatee, and just like piercing like teal green eyes that look at this kid, and he like grins and says like, "Come on, let's keep walking." And that memory fades away. And then another memory comes into play, and you see those guns again. This time in the hand of a teenager. As it is handed to the kid, and he goes, "All right, you get one try, just one." And he reaches out and hands the kid the pistol, and like you get this rush of exhilaration as this like maybe like 12-year-old, 13-year-old gets his hands on this gun for the first time. A thing he's coveted for his presumably entire life is like the feeling you get. Like he's like, this is his moment. He's got it. He's figured it out. Like he's done everything. He's proved himself. He gets to actually touch this like relic that has been built up in his mind to an immense amount. And he takes it, and he's so nervous. He's so nervous. And he goes to aim it. And you see like there's a target on like a barrel on a stream. And it's like just kind of like moving a little bit. It seems to be like attached by a chain. It's not moving down the stream, but it is kind of like moving around as if it's like a little buoy. And he like is trying to aim at it. And the man says, "Remember your training." And the kid tries so hard and just misses. Full on, just straight up misses the target. And then in a blink of an eye, even faster, the gun is out of his hand and back in the holster of the man's belt. And he goes, "Maybe next year." And then walks away, like with like a whip of the coat, and walks away. And then in that moment, as the man walks away, you get a sharp pain in your left leg, the sound of a gunshot, and you know that that is from a different memory. You feel the feelings of an adult man in his like 20s as he is shot in the leg by that gun. And it is the worst thing that has ever happened to him in his entire life. And then you're back to being the kid. And you see as the man sits there, the kid is eating dinner or breakfast, and the man is cleaning his guns, and the kid is just watching every aspect of these guns. And again, specifically, it seems like you're being forced to focus on the grip. And then that memory slowly fades down. And you hear again in your head, "Maybe next year, Owen." And then you hear Pruitt's voice in your head. "Find it."
Try.
You try. You don't have to roll dice. Everyone gets 2 grit. As you...
Can I roll dice?
No.
Oh, okay.
Can I hold mine in escrow? Can I spend 2 grit real quick?
No, sorry, Porter.
I'll take your 2 grit as a personal
Everyone gets
favor.
2 grit. As Eloise, you try, and to the best of your knowledge, full on 100% succeed. Like, as if you rolled 7 hits. You reach out, you focus on the guns, and you understand that for some reason, like the intention behind the memories you were given, you understand that the frame of the gun is not the same as those memories, but those grips are the same. You understand that these memories are old, extremely old, and that those guns have been rebuilt, but the grips are the same. And as you try to find those grips, which apparently are made out of an extremely unique material, it's as if your brain hits a wall. And this has never, ever happened to you, ever. Like, if you use detect item and you roll poorly, you know that you just didn't have the juice. Like, you didn't have the focus. You didn't have, like, you weren't right in the right headspace. You just, like, you know, it fizzled out and you're like, maybe I can do better next time. Right? It's not like a thing where it's like, oh, it's not around. Right? You reach out, and with the sheer intent of this man pouring through you via these memories, you push out with a presence that you've never had before, a strength that you've never had before, and you're pretty goddamn strong. You reach out using your detect item, and it's like you basically, like, get shoved back into your own mind. Like, you before you can detect where this item is, it's like the item itself just said no. And you, like, sharp pain in your head, you snap back to, and you see Pruitt looking at you, and you see the pupils of his eyes are glowing a bright teal color. And we're going to take a break.
Addie has stared into those eyes so many times.
I think for my called shot in our group chat in the Discord, I should get something.
My God.
What'd you post in the Discord?
You called the shot?
Called the shot.
Says,
That's exactly
this is
it.
my called shot. Pruitt is Rufus Nash, aka Owen Lemaire.
All right.
Wow.
Well.
Well,
Well.
Well.
wake me up and we'll kill this guy, whatever his name is.
The thing is that you really can't.
Yeah, I do it a few times over.
Yeah.
I've already done it twice. So, like, I don't know how many times I have to kill this guy, but, like,
It's the reason they say third time's a charm.
I'm gonna go get my Amazon package. I'll see all of you viewers in a little bit.
All right, we're going to take an intermission. I got 10:27 on the clock. We're going to take a 15-minute intermission. We'll see y'all in 15 minutes. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Dang, Tommy.
We're back. Those of you who are just joining, a few things have happened. Porter and Dex have assembled their motley crew of drifters who seem pretty comfortable going on a basically suicide run at Brimstone to try and rescue two people. So either these people are crazy or they're very good at their jobs.
Crazy or crazy good.
Maybe both. I guess it's not mutually exclusive.
I like that.
That's what Dex and Porter done. They've stocked up on inventory. Their plan is to leave Waypoint this evening to head to Brimstone to set up a base of operations so that they can figure out how they're going to get in and get Eloise and Gus out. Meanwhile, Eloise and Gus, after having attempted to escape, that is a massive glass of wine, Addie.
I need it.
What did I do to you? This is why Addie is drinking a massive glass of wine. because after their attempted escape, Eloise was brought back to consciousness by Ulysses Pruitt, who decided to conduct Experiment 74, which was referenced in the last episode as a particular specific experiment that he has repeated multiple times in regards to the detect item power. And so what he did is he drugged up Eloise, and then he took off her collar so she could use illuminated powers, and then he puppeteered her and shared with her, presumably, some of his memories. Memories of a child long ago. Eloise was able to tell that this child was, like, these memories were old. And they fixated on a set of guns that this child's father had, or at least father figure. The child's name was Owen, and he seemed, in these memories at least specifically, he seemed fixated on those guns. And using that fixation on the guns, Pruitt asked Eloise to try and find the guns. And Eloise tried and should have succeeded, and yet did not. Something stopped her. And that's what just happened. And when Eloise came to, she saw the glowing teal eyes of Ulysses Pruitt. Those of you who have watched season 1 will recognize the teal glow and will recognize the name Owen. Eloise, frustrated Pruitt, quickly clasps the collar back on, steps back, and goes, Experiment 74, failure, like the rest. And he closes the note. And you see it slide over to that same device, and you see it, the little like blinking light that shows that it's saving. So you've, at least with your, like, basically with your skills, Eloise, as a tinkerer, you know that that's basically like the hard drive that contains all of his notes. He might have more, but that's the active one that he uses. Whether he backs it up elsewhere, you have no idea. He lets out a sigh, turns to you. He's already disconnected his puppeteer, because he let go of you. And he grabs your IV, grabs the syringe, and he's gonna.
No, wait. I can try again.
It won't matter none. And he starts putting the drug into the IV.
Please, I can find people. Don't.
You say that, and he thinks on it. He seems to think on it for a second, but unless you want to roll in a gate, you do fall asleep.
Nah, I'm rolling for once, and I don't want to misfire again.
At some time later, Gus, you are awoken. You are not in the lab where you were when Eloise saw you. You are instead in that hallway that Eloise, the like full of those like kind of like tanks, those like fogged up, like lit up like tanks of liquid that Eloise was in. And you're still fully contained. You have the collar on, and you start waking up, and you see Ulysses Pruitt, finger on the button, standing a good 5 or 6 feet away from you, as you're just kind of floating there upright. And you wake up, and he's holding his finger on the button. He's ready to press it the moment you try anything. And he goes, Mr. Gurley, can we talk?
Can I talk? I'm floating in this fluid, right?
No, sorry, you're not in the fluid. You're in your containment manacles. You're floating.
Oh.
You're floating because
You said floating.
Yeah. The containment manacles.
Containment manacles.
Yeah, the containment manacles either have you horizontal or upright. Right now they have you upright, but you're completely restrained in the containment manacles. You have the collar on, and he is standing there, and he goes, "Mr. Gurley, can we talk?"
Yeah, sure. I don't know. If I say no, you just sort of knock me out. That sucks.
Well, I can give you a more restful sleep here in a minute. That ain't a threat. It's actually something that will help you feel a little bit better. This thing knocks you out. You're not going to feel good when you wake up. I'm sure you're feeling that right now.
Yeah.
So let's have some words, and then you can get a nice, good rest. How's that sound?
Sure.
All right. Ms. Reynolds is in the other room. He, in his other hand, like has a remote, and like he presses it, and like your containment manacles like turn you around, and you're able to see in the other room, like just like the top half of Eloise, like unconscious, like laying on her back. And he pulls you back around. And he goes, "She's fine. Both of you will make an almost full recovery." I came to talk to you because obviously you got a lot of gumption and a lot of talent. And in my time here, I've seen folks like you come through, and I've had to do some unfortunate things to those folks to put them in line. And he presses a button on that same remote, and the like tinted fog on all of these containers fades away. I believe I said it was 8 additional containers, right? Or no, it was 7. It was 8 total. Eloise was in 1. That one's empty. The one Eloise was in is still broken. Eloise broke it, I think.
No, I didn't break it.
You didn't break it. Okay.
No.
So it's just empty. Eloise's is empty. There's 7 additional containers, all of which seem to have inhabitants. And what you see is a horror show. As you look around, you see not exactly the same thing as what, I guess you never saw Subject 52. Perhaps Dex maybe had a moment to explain it to you because you guys had a couple nights where you like camped out. But you see like a couple people whose limbs seem elongated and emaciated. And eyes seem completely fogged over, blind. Hair almost completely fallen out of the body. These people floating in these kind of tubes with an oxygen mask, like in an oxygen tube pushed down their throat. They seem to be unconscious, though their eyes are open. Their form is ghastly and otherworldly. You see a couple of those, and you see quite a few forms that are kind of similar to what Jack Taylor looked like. The exact form of which is not exactly the same, but like you recognize it. It's like the glow isn't there for one thing. They seem to be dormant at the moment, but they are curled up into. You would be more comfortable if they were curled up in the fetal positions. They're not. It's like their bodies have like crushed in on themselves. like in whatever form it did. Like some of them are close to fetal position, some of them like their arms are twisted in grotesque ways, like their body has collapsed in, but you see the form of them as they just kind of float there like this like dead rock, but you know is living because you've seen Jack Taylor, you've seen what he was. And Pruitt says, I don't want to have to do this to you, Mr. Gurley. In fact, I want to keep you nice and healthy. You see, I came to a realization here. These folk, I didn't want to turn them into what I turned them into. This was an unfortunate side effect of an imperfect donor. But you and Miss Reynolds, you're the key. The two of you together. Schaefer outdid himself. I mean, I ain't run all the tests yet. But I think you two might be the key. And if that's so, neither of you have to turn out like these poor souls. But
What?
if you keep trying, stupid antics like what you did yesterday, you'll leave me no choice. I have all the time in the world, son.
So you're either gonna make me a Jack Taylor, or you're gonna use me to make Jack Taylors.
I don't want to make this, he says, gesturing at one of the grotesque forms to his side. This is a failed experiment. With you and Ms. Reynolds cooperating, we can ignore all this nonsense. You two will live longer and healthier lives than if you try to oppose me. Now, I reckon she takes some cues from you. Now, I reckon you act based on whatever you feel. So here I am, putting a couple cards on the table for you, Mr. Gurley, so that you understand that if you cooperate, well, then you have some options. If you keep breaking out of my restraints, messing up my experiments, well, your options become very limited, and then you're just a tool for Brimstone. Follow me?
Yeah. Yeah, I follow you.
Every day you work with me is another day you get to maybe, just maybe, find a way out. But the moment I think you can't see sense, he gestures with his head towards one of the forms in the tube next to him. Do we have an arrangement, Mr. Gurley?
Gus is incredibly conflicted.
This makes sense.
Yeah. Extraordinarily. You have to give me a second. Yeah, because Gus super does not want to be a part of creating the better version of this thing that he remembers tearing people in half indiscriminately and eating them and all sorts of stuff. He wants absolutely no part of that. Figures one of him out there is better than them like perfecting that, but also he knows that if he bides his time, even though it's something that he just called out to him, there is some chance that Gus could escape. I think I think Gus in this moment thinks about Alf Ralston and knows that there is maybe someone out there that he could be that can help be his ticket out. They can help each other be their ticket out, really. And that's the thing that in this moment makes him say to Pruitt, yeah, I'll go along with you, Dr. Pruitt. But in the meantime, I'm thinking about. In the meantime, you're gonna want to get some stronger doors.
He smiles a bit at that and goes, all right then. And he presses a button on the remote, and you start backing up as he walks towards you, back into the lab. And he goes, with that all said and done, the door shuts behind him. And he goes, I have some questions I need to ask you. And you like hook back up into that machine, and you feel the utensils beginning to drill into your body. And he asks you 4 questions. Tell me about your first experience revealing your illuminated nature to the people close to you. I seem to remember a plow being involved. How'd they react to that?
Yeah. I mean, well, my folks, they're surprised. Obviously, they weren't illuminated, but they were accepting. I was their kid, and we're family. We loved each other, so they taught me how to hide it and how to find the people I could trust, could know. Can't be the sort of thing you're telling everybody about.
Go ahead and roll an endure test at a -4.
Cool. So we're at a -4 plus -3 more equals -8. 1 success.
Hey, do you have any shine left?
Didn't you say we woke up without it?
I said Eloise woke up without hers.
Oh, I have 14 shine left.
Okay, you got 1 success. You lose 4 shine.
I'll tell you what, the dice, the die that Addie and I made once is right in the range where if I didn't have minuses, would be going off.
As you feel that kind of thing drill in, you feel a sample being pulled out of you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. How much? -4?
You lose 4 shine. This is a slightly different feeling than last time. Last time it was really painful when he got a sample off of you. This time it's more precise. It's hot. It's very hot inside like your abdomen, like as if your muscle is being injected with heat. But it's not as painful. The last one was like more like ripping. This one is more like siphoning.
Sure.
Feels just more controlled. Like he's changed his method slightly. To the best of your abilities, describe how you believe the people currently in your life feel about your illuminated nature.
Well, I mean, they're fine with it, I guess, in general. I can't do any of the real, creepy stuff that people tend to freak out about, getting in people's heads and whatnot. But I don't know. There's times when I've got real strong, and I sort of lose myself in it a little bit. I done things I ain't proud of, and I suspect the people who cared about me wouldn't be too proud of either.
Did you do something in the Punch Peaks you regret, Mr. Gurnley?
Yeah, I did.
Just you and me here.
Sure is.
Sure is. You want to talk?
Nope.
Go ahead and roll in a gate test at a -5.
Cheeky boy, you want me to bust out of here? Oh, that's actually an explosion. Hey, look at that. Iced coffee die is like, let's go, which makes sense. It's an iced coffee die, but it's one success again.
Okay. You lose another 4 shine.
Cool.
Pruitt seems extremely pleased with the samples that are coming off of you right now. As he's looking at all the readings and everything, he seems to be elated with how well this experiment is going.
Why wouldn't he be? I'm a magic hunk.
You're doing great. You're doing great, son. Just 2 more questions. Then you can get some rest.
All right.
How do you view other illuminated individuals?
I mean, they're fine. It's tough because we got a secret to hide, but it's nice when we can find each other and confide in each other. They ain't scary, just because of what someone can do, right? Like there's gunslingers walking around all the time who could put you down from 60 yards straight behind them. That's fine. I don't understand why. I just don't understand why everyone's so distrustful. I guess because they can see someone walking with a gun, but they can't see someone walking with their shine. But no, it just ain't right the way folks are treated.
He sits on that.
You ever get that?
He sits on that for a second and he goes, Mr. Gurley, I understand exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Rolling a gate test at a -4.
This motherfucker who loves illuminated people and hates gunslingers.
Alright. Got a little too jumpy for me on that one. Oh dang, but green die is also here to play. I'm rolling, so I'm only getting 1 success at a time. Legally, I'm only allowed to get 1 success at a time.
But you can see the potential of your successes.
But I can see the potential. I can see the plan coming together. Honestly, my dice are biding their time in much the same way Gus is biding his time, waiting for the plan to come
They're
together.
letting you know that there's hope down in the future.
It's 1 success.
Cool. You lose another 4 shine.
Boom. Sick.
What is that? 3 instances of 4?
Yeah, I'm down to 2.
Okay. Okay. Last question. If you can remember, when was the last time you discovered a new illuminated power that you had?
It was up in the Punch Peaks.
What was it?
And that I could jump real far. Sort of real far and high and sort of plummet out of the sky like a rocket.
I read that in
Yeah.
the report. They described you as a comet.
Yeah, I suppose comet is something more common on this planet. Yeah, you plummet out of the sky like a dang space rock. Yeah, I mean it was pretty neat. It was. Yeah, I mean I guess it sort of goes along with like there ain't that much distance between I get real strong and I jump real far, but came in handy.
For most folks, there's an impassable amount of difference between those two things.
Sure.
How did that feel? Unlocking something new inside yourself, using it to help your friends.
Yeah. Well, that's tough. That one's right after sort of one of the bad things, but it was nice being able to get to him and help him out. I was so far away from him, so far away.
This power presented itself for the first time after you did the thing you regret.
I suppose I don't know. I needed to get to my friends, so I did. I don't No, I don't think it's like that. What you're saying, what you're sort of saying to me, what you're saying to me, but you're not using the words for it. I don't think that. I don't think that did it. No, that ain't. I didn't do a bad thing and then get more magic because of it. Because I've got more magic in my life and I ain't done that many bad things. So that ain't it. Don't put that in your head or mine. That ain't how it goes. That ain't how it works.
You've been incredibly cooperative, Mr. Gurley. I do recall you saying it was in a moment of need that your first power came out.
Yeah, you don't need power till you need it. No, that yeah.
He presses the button and goes, subject's growth seems related to an emotional imperative to help those around them. Compare previous notes leading up to this point in time. He presses the button, it saves onto the drive. He turns back to you and goes, that's all the questions for today, Mr. Gurley. I need you to roll one more endure test, this time at a -8.
I'm rolling for 2s. Oh, boys, you gave it your best shot, and I appreciate that. Look, I appreciate each and every one of you for your contributions tonight. People didn't get to see it show up on screen, but I know you guys were trying hard out there. That's no hits.
Okay, you lose your last 2 shine.
Oh.
As painfully the machine pulls away, pulling the final sample out. You look and you see like all the bars are green and everything's great. And then Pruitt loses himself for like a solid like 25 seconds, like forgets you're there. And you see him move around the screens and you see him bring up other details. And I mean, you can roll first aid, but I actually don't think Gus is able to follow what's going on here.
I want to roll first aid.
Okay.
I got grit. And we'll see what can happen.
Shoot the moon. You have an aneurysm.
Here's the thing. Oh, dang! I could shoot the moon. How much is shoot the moon? 2?
I believe so.
It is 2.
Yeah. 2 grit to shoot the moon. It's a 50-50 chance of miraculous success or catastrophic failure.
Oof. Yeah, I shoot the moon.
Okay.
A good call.
So
Good, dumb
you
call.
spend 2 grit. You shoot the moon on first aid to try and follow what Pruitt is doing here as he kind of forgets that you are still conscious.
Come on, Gus. Come on, iced coffee die.
And you want a 10 or lower.
Oof. And appropriately, it's an unlucky 13.
Okay.
I should have known. He wants to roll at the target. Picked the wrong man for the job. Green's rolling 5s all night. Should have picked green.
I have an idea, but it does require it's based on an assertion of what I think Gus might do, or like a place Gus might find himself. And I do want to say straight up, like, if this doesn't seem like a place Gus would go, then let's backtrack and workshop a different catastrophic failure.
Okay, for sure.
But I think what you see is hope and excitement in Pruitt's eyes. You see someone who has worked an extremely long time to try and find an answer and has finally maybe found his way to potentially getting that answer. And what you see is someone who has fallen so far low and has become so depraved in their need for a win that they have become who Pruitt is. And so, if you're cool with it, I think the catastrophic failure is that Gus, to a significant but not necessarily like blind degree, like full on feels for Pruitt, like thinks that he is justified. He's like an anti-hero, not a villain, right? That he is a fallen hero, that he has fallen into this place based on horrible situations that have pushed him to this, and you think there's hope for him yet. Basically, you see the light side in Darth Vader, right?
Oh man, let me give that 15 to 20 seconds of
Yeah. Basically, it's like, it feels like a Gus thing to do, to think that there's hope for someone who is like irrevocably like the bad guy, when no one else would ever give that assumption. But it is like a significant shift in the dynamic that I don't necessarily want to put on you if you don't think Gus would go there.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, Gus knows all of the horrible things that this man does and has done, to a degree that I don't. Oh, man, but it's a really good catastrophic failure,
right?
My only other one is that like Gus can't resist the urge and like breaks a manacle. But that doesn't feel catastrophic, right?
Nah, you just get put down. I mean, I guess like long term it could be.
Yeah, right. Like that was my thought. Is that like the two things are either
that actually feels more catastrophic to me, because one makes Gus no longer a PC. It like puts Gus on the path to no longer being a PC.
Wait, which
the breaking the manacles? The threat that was given to you was that you become a mindless husk of a monster if you continued to defy him.
All right. Well, if that's the other option, then yeah, I'll take the first offer.
Okay.
I think Gus sees partially in Pruitt. I think his thinking of Alf sort of floats in and carries him to a similar thought about Pruitt, that maybe this is just a scientist, and Brimstone, the powers that be, like Fort Dearborn Militia, have pushed him to this research, because this guy clearly doesn't hate illuminated people. He just said that to Gus, and Gus believed him. So I think this is a guy who's really trying to do research for the betterment and better understanding of illuminated people, and Brimstone have, as they always do, corrupted him. So I don't think he's fully there, but I think he sees the light, the same light that he saw in Alf, of like, you could break out of here and go do something else productive and like live a better life. He sees a spark of that in Pruitt.
Yeah. And
I hope for that.
I definitely do want there to be like, you don't have blind hope for him, but you see that there is a light to him, that like maybe he could be redeemed. Maybe he's not that bad. And that is a thing that Gus is going to have to grapple with now, as he interprets what he sees as someone who is like, you see kind of similar to, like, you see what almost this like excitement and elation and relief that you're kind of searching for in yourself because of the things you've done recently that you super regret. Like you see, or at least think you see in Pruitt, like the, oh my God, all of the terrible things were worth it. I'm almost there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's put the thought in Gus's mind that like he has the thought of like him and Alf and hopefully also Elle are going to escape. And when they're on that escape, he will have the thought, should we go and try to bust Pruitt too?
That's your catastrophic failure.
Sure is, baby. Let's go.
And then Pruitt, almost like a little embarrassed, realizes you're still awake. and goes, Mr. Gurley, sorry, I got a little carried away there. I'm gonna go ahead
Do
and
what you got to do.
I'm gonna go ahead and put you to sleep here. And you'll feel a lot better when you wake up. But there's some side effects to the procedure that will subside in time, but not at the rate you're used to. And as he says that, he injects sleeping tonic. You can roll negate if you want. Otherwise, you just go to sleep.
Hell no, not double shaken.
Okay, cool. The next, or I guess the evening comes, and Dex and Porter, your troops are ready. They're waiting nearby the DeCastro stables for your arrival.
Did I get any message from the LRC just to resolve that?
Been less than a day.
Right.
You do get a message back from Truman. It is not what you necessarily might have been hoping for,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just a bunch of questions. What happened? Where are you? The Raven says you just disappeared. It's been 4 days. What's going on? Why are you moving on Brimstone? I need to know what's happening.
Now he needs to know the plan.
Also, +1 grit to Gus. Carnaxis says Gus looks like he needs this.
Thank you. He does. For when he and Alphen Pruitt escape Brimstone.
That's just horrible.
It sucks. It sucks so bad. Oh, shoot the moon. Why do I ever try?
I think his response is I just has to be kind of irresistible. I think I sent him. Let's see. We are how many hours out from
Less
from
than a
the-
day.
less than a day? We're gonna leave tonight. Get there less than a day later. I'm gonna say just before dawn, and I'll give the date for 2 days from now. Just before dawn, this is the moment. Attack and we'll cover you, and Brimstone will be brought down. It's now or never.
Okay. 2 days from now. Cool. You send that out. And then Dex and Porter.
I guess I don't assume there's anything from Isabel. I'd like confirmation if I'm going to be avenged or not.
Confirmed. No message from Isabel.
And no message from Rund either, right?
No, Rund actually checks their messages pretty regularly, so you get a message back from Rund.
Oh.
You were asking what happened to Lucille.
Yeah, that's right.
Rund says, as far as I know, young Mrs. Roberts managed to patch things up to the best of her abilities. I understand she's a free agent now.
I'll just send back. Glad she's unattached. My best to the family and my family.
Cool.
And I will make the distinction with the capital Fs.
Nice. Yeah, so Dex and Porter, you walk up to the DeCastro stables as the sun is setting. You see your crew: Arthur Ross, Lucille Roberts, Jess Weaver, Oscar McCoy, Parappa not here yet.
Mhm.
And they're just chatting and leaning on the fence and everything. You hear the whirring engines warming up of a plane. And you see like this plane, it's got like a little like hatch down. Imagine like not quite a Quinjet from like the Avengers, but like not that, like much more hodgepodge and makeshift, but like you get the sense of like kind of how cool this plane looks as stepping down from the ramp, this very cool, very neat, kind of high tech plane. You see a man in kind of ill-fitting pants. They're like a corduroy, and they're a little like frayed at the ankles. He's wearing no shoes, and has like a loose-fitting like tank top underneath a jacket, and has like a bomber like fuzzy like cap like that covers his like ears, and has like goggles on the top. He's got like a wispy like blonde facial hair. Steps out, looks at you, and gives you just the warmest smile. And he goes, "Hey guys, I'm Wyatt. I suppose you're the people I'm flying to Brimstone?"
That's right, Mr. Chafee. Pleasure to meet you. Porter Janus.
Oh man, I think I've seen you around before. I didn't know your name though. Well, like, nice to meet you. I'm Wyatt.
Nice to meet you as well.
All right, cool. Yeah, it's Wyatt Chafee, and he shakes your hand.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Oh, man, we have a full house here. How's it going? I have met you before, right? And Lucille Roberts goes, "More than a few times, hon." And he goes, "All right, well, come on board. This is the plane, and it's going to take us where we need to go. But really quick, just a quick note. There's a couple levers in the bathroom. This is the one you use to flush. Don't touch any of the other levers, okay? Is everyone cool with that?"
Will do. Yep.
Right, great. We're great. It's gonna be great. All right, so we're going to I put the numbers in the console, and they say it's gonna take like maybe like 13 or so hours. Not like that many. I'm not gonna push it too hard, but like I understand there's like a time crunch thing, so like that's fine.
As quick as possible would be preferable, Mr. Chafee.
And Mayor Graves said that I wasn't going to the numbers all the way, and that I needed to tell you when I was close to the numbers, because the numbers are the place that you don't want to go to right away. You kind of want to like go nearby and like look at for a little while. So you guys just like, I'll let you know when we're close, and then you just go ahead and come on up to the helm and like look through the window, and you let me know where you want to go, man.
You're very amenable.
Survival is maps, right?
I mean, yeah. It's like knowledge of the area.
Cool. Can I just put the numbers where we want to go in this plane?
Well, so you're not super familiar with the area, like the exact area. Like that's kind of what Oscar's there for.
Sure.
Like you've never
Can
been to
put our heads together to put the numbers of where we
Sure.
want to go.
You like turn to Oscar, and if you ask Oscar, he'll go, "Oh yeah. Hold on a second." And he literally like has maps of the exact area.
Great. If you can find us a landing spot, that would be great.
Yeah. There we go. And he goes up and punches in different coordinates. He goes, "Oh, cool. So we just like go right there now?"
Yes.
All right, cool. I might still let you know when we're close, just because like that way you can like get your stuff together.
Great.
All right, great, man. Awesome. Well, go ahead and sit down. I recommend seatbelts, especially for takeoff and landing, but like for the most part, it's gonna be a smooth ride. And he sits down, cranks a lever, and the door. He goes 3, 2, 1, take off, and like punches it. It's like off of the ground. This extremely sophisticated piece of machinery at the hands of this man peels away from waypoint in the middle of as the sun finishes setting, the beginning of the evening, and y'all start heading northwest towards Brimstone. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session. I see your comment in the chat, Roman. Why Chavy's the best person on Manifest?
He is. I don't think it's even an argument.
He's just such
He's
a
just
He
the
was,
best.
as I recall, extremely useful when we were playtesting for Waypoint. Because a lot of times you would try and hit the gunslinger trigger, and innocent life is saved with an exchange of bullets. And you just couldn't get it because everybody was these fucking outlaws and murderers and thieves. But if Wyatt was in a session and you shot someone who was trying to fight him, you got that one every time.
yeah. YJV innocent life every time.
Why JP could crash his plane 10 out of 10 times. I would love him. I would get in the plane every time. I would crash with that man anywhere on Manifest.
Oh, good shit. All right, so we are moving into Q&A. We definitely have some Q&A in the Discord, but I also did see a question pop up in the stream chat earlier. It's from Argelam. I want to get to that one now. If you have other questions, ask them in the chat, but Argelam asked pretty early in the session, honestly, how long ago was the Battle of Waypoint? So the Battle of Waypoint is the conflict that coincided with a lot of other conflicts around the Badlands at the time. But it was like the definitive end of the Proto-Martyr crisis. The Proto-Martyr crisis lasted about 4 years, and the Battle of Waypoint took place 15 years ago. So that's when the Battle of Waypoint happened. That's when the Proto-Martyrs struck multiple targets at the same time, least of which was Waypoint. However, the leader of the Proto-Martyrs was there at Waypoint, kind of looking for a grudge match, and he was defeated, and the Proto-Martyrs, they were defeated at every angle, mostly through the efforts of drifters. The Proto-Martyr movement kind of crumbled and split, and now all that remains are fanatical remnants who are still trying to live on that legacy, even though they've clearly lost the war. But you know, they have lasers and power armor, so like they got some play. But yeah, so Battle Waypoint was 15 years ago. Many lives were lost, least of which was the then sheriff of Waypoint, Samuel Sweets, who Mason Fly stepped in to fill in for afterwards.
White Chafee was in the battle.
White Chafee was there. Yeah. White Chafee was there. His plane almost got shot down. Almost.
It crashed into a tank.
Did he crash
He
into
rammed
a
a
tank?
tank.
He rammed a tank?
He
That's right.
rammed a tank.
Well,
with his
he did that a
airplane.
bunch. He rammed a lot of things. Basically, so the Battle of Waypoint was the culmination of like the final huge amount of playtests for Manifest. And it culminated in this giant conflict with the Proto-Martyrs that centered around Waypoint. And like we were saying before, it was like a 14 or like 15 or 16 hour session. We started at like 10 or 11 a.m. And I don't remember when we ended, but it was past midnight. And we basically, it was a massive battle with like 13 or so players, all of which were players who had played different parts of the playtests of the Proto-Martyr crisis. And they were all there. We played a massive long combat campaign on a huge 3-dimensional map. It was tons of fun. And yeah, Wyatt Chafee was there. And he was like, the only thing I'm good at is flying a plane. And then he really quickly realized that he could like dip down really, he had a good enough skill in pilot that he could dip down really low into the terrible terrain and like clip Proto-Martyrs with his wings. Like, I was like, okay, well, you're flying like in terrible terrain right next to the ground. So like, you're at a -9. And he was like, all right. And he'd roll and still like get like fucking like, you know, 9s and 10s and stuff. So like every once in a while he would catch a Proto-Martyr with his wing. And the leader of the Proto-Martyrs actually spent, I think, at least 1 turn, if not 2 turns, trying to shoot down that plane.
It was awesome.
Also, Lap Nachos reminded us that he also slalomed the high speed rail supports.
Yeah.
because they had the proto-martyrs had a plane, and he like baited that plane into following it, and then outflew it, and it crashed.
Yeah. He killed a plane by just being a better pilot because he was like zigzagging through like the high-speed rail pylons and shit, and that eventually the proto plane couldn't keep up and just crashed. It was good shit. It was such a fun campaign.
I was supposed to be there. I wish I'd have been there for that fucking
Yeah,
game.
Emil Hangletter, who we saw in this episode, is one of Seth's old characters. He is the Icthitarian preacher in Waypoint, and he did, with the help of Father Gideon Harrow, the Triptych preacher in Waypoint, save everyone when the church collapsed. And they used their telekinetic abilities to stop the church from collapsing so everyone could get out.
Everyone could be moved to the brothel for safety.
Yes.
It's a detail that I remember very distinctly.
Including Terry DeCastro, who was like 12 years old at the time, and he killed a proto-martyr.
Oh, yeah.
Sure did.
Terry.
Good shit. Really, really fun stuff. And definitely all going to be expanded more on in the lore of various rule books and source books and novellas. But let's see. I have one from Carnaxis in the stream chat. Not sure if you've covered this before. What are the main food sources for the larger cities on Manifest? And are there any mega farms and cattle ranches? To the last question, mega farms and cattle ranches? Yes, it's in the Glenspire territory. Glenspire is like the main provider of like food and agriculture for Waypoint. It's not the only provider.
Manifest.
Sorry, for Manifest. Also Waypoint. Yes, for Manifest as a whole. So like Glenspire territory has big, huge mega farms, especially actually specifically within the factory town. Like a lot of the factory towns are like these super like metropolises with like a lot of smog and industry and stuff. And like that is true in Glenspire, but intercut with all of that smog and industry are massive swaths of farmland that were deemed important enough to be within the walls of the city. And so like those big mega farms, those kind of like maybe slightly inhumane mega farms exist within the Glenspire factory town. Main food sources though, I mean, is it Hodag or is it something else?
Hodags take too long to mature.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's like regular livestock that they probably brought over from
It's
the
a
home.
combination of like regular livestock.
I was gonna say hasn't it got to be like plant protein probably?
There's a lot of we haven't delved too far into it, but basically there are some edible animals on Manifest. There's jackalope is one of like the staple meats. As is well, not
jackalope is what the higher ups eat, because basically when a jackalope is too old to continue to race, they turn it into produce.
And then and like ache are edible as well.
Listen,
But
you get
it's
high enough to
mostly
gate, you can eat anything.
It's mostly just regular livestock. Cows and chickens and stuff.
Yeah, they have a decent amount that they imported in and have continued to breed from the home world. But then also on top of that, there's hitherto unnamed but similar type like livestock on Manifest that like aren't necessarily like RPG creatures that require stat blocks or anything, because they're just like, passive livestock that are similar to like cows and lambs and stuff like that. That might even be called cows and lambs because they're close enough to it that like it just kind of got inherited. But that's kind of the general thing. There is like some general livestock, and then I think plant produce is also a big thing. Because there's lots of big angry vegetation on Manifest, and some of them are delicious. In fact, there's one. What's the one, guys? Dan and Roman, we made one and it was delicious, and people would go and get the things.
Oh, I don't remember the name of it, but it's
Oh,
got these
bugs?
seeds that are like little crab monsters, and they will kill you because they're so sticky.
But if you go into the pod, you get like a really, really valuable like substance that is like hot, like basically caviar on
Super
Manifest.
delicious,
Yeah.
Caviar,
There's
but
also
it tastes
the
like chocolate.
Drosera tea that from season 1.
It's not tea, it's broth.
Also, like any animal that came from the departure is like 400 years removed from its original genealogy. So no matter what, even if it was the same like origin, it would still look totally different.
Yeah, the
right?
cows have like 8 eyes.
Yeah.
8 eyes, 6 legs, 2 tails.
Billion talons.
At least.
All right. So that's the answer for Carnaxus. Into the Discord, we have some questions from Argitlam. What? Oh, Addie, this is for you. Start getting your notes ready. I know you have it written down somewhere.
Oh no.
What is the
Okay.
rough population of Manifest? How densely packed is it in specific regions?
How dare you ask me this question?
You literally have it written down somewhere.
I think I have it actually.
Somewhere. I did send it to Seth. Seth
Yeah.
is more likely to have it on hand because I have about 5,000 or 6,000 notebooks filled with manifest
Shocking.
material.
Manifest
Yeah.
locations. I found it.
Okay, good. We both have it. Excellent.
You have it?
Yeah.
Answer this if you have it.
I do. It's with the map. All right. So let's see. I think I'm actually, you know what? I mostly took down the populations of each city. I didn't get the total population.
My recollection is that Manifest population is like in the several hundred million, with like 2/3 of that being in the factory towns, which are like pretty densely populated, and
Yeah.
then the rest of it being sort of spread out in settlements across the rest of the planet.
Yeah. Almost 70% of the population on Manifest lives in the factory towns. And that includes the settlements that are so close to the factory towns that they're basically like suburbs.
Yeah, but then an additional 10% live in the garden, which is only about a sixth of the actual, like, generously a sixth of the world, like, square mileage. And then 5% is in the wastes, and the other 15 is in the Badlands. But the Badlands is huge. So it is still more densely populated in the garden than anywhere else.
Yeah, I think there's like
So-
almost 200 million people who live on Manifest. Something around there.
200.
Yeah, well, and that the account that we all have is from 15 years ago.
Oh yeah, that's right. This
100%.
math was done for 15 years ago. But as far as like densely populated, what I can tell you is I can give you a breakdown of the most densely populated factory towns. Because the factory towns are massive. We're talking like anywhere from 550 square miles to like 1,200 square miles, but they each have well over like 6 million people, sometimes as high as like 15 or 17 million people. First in density of population is Freedom City. Freedom City has the most densely populated. It has the tallest buildings, that kind of thing.
It does not have the tallest.
Oh, sorry. Yes, you're right.
Smallest apartments.
Second in population density is Iron Harbor, which does have the tallest buildings. Iron Harbor is second in population density. Iron Harbor is very much stacked up on top of itself. Third in population density is Liberty City. So we have Freedom City, Iron Harbor, and Liberty at the top 3. Fourth is Fort Dearborn, which is basically built into and around a mountain. Fifth in population density is Alanastead. Sixth is Markham's Landing. It's a little bit more widespread, and it has plenty of rivers and stuff to like kind of divide the population up. Then seventh in population density is San Cordero, and then Glenspire is eighth in population density. However, Glenspire is also basically tied for Freedom City in actual population. So Freedom City and Glenspire. Freedom City is most dense and Glenspire is last in density, yet they have the same amount of population. That's how huge Glenspire is. And it's because it's got friggin' farms in the walls, right?
It also has like a safari park.
Yeah.
That's like that, like hundreds of square miles or whatever.
Yeah.
Great.
The only place you can catch a Chansey.
It's a zoo. It's got a zoo.
So that's the breakdown of population density as far as the factory towns are concerned, and we know that roughly around 70% of the population on the entire planet is within the factory towns. Argatlom said, let's choose advancement triggers for, I don't know how to say this first name. Serevna? Serevna Elena from Dragon Quest IV. She's a privileged brawler who punches things that will be that way. Wait, who punches things?
She's a princess who punches things, and that makes her a privileged brawler.
Got it. Highest critical and dodge rates in the game. She lives and loves to fight. Okay. And she and wants to prove she's the strongest around. Okay. Beating monsters to death with her bare hands, or when the situation allows, claw weapons. All right. That's enough for me for us to come up with some of the triggers.
This is easy.
I have 3 of them.
Yeah.
You're observed performing an amazing feat of athleticism, almost probably. The problem is resolved with a show of strength, definitely. Someone with superior firepower is defeated in close combat, for sure.
Yeah.
You start a fight for fun. You make a point to show off during a fight.
Mm-hmm.
You prove stronger than another person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are all brawler triggers that sounds like 100% up her alley. So she could just have fun switching those in and out when she levels up.
It sounds like she does not have a religious text as referenced for guidance.
Seems
Gus's
unlikely.
4th advancement trigger.
And then the last one in the Discord is from Argatlom, with the good old fashioned let's build in Manifest. How would we build? Rampart from Apex. He did this because I dressed up as Rampart during my last stream on the Jolly Poncho stream. So Rampart is a character in Apex who is a master crafter of weapons and armor, and also plays in the Apex games and totes around a massive minigun of her own design that she can either set down for her teammates to use, or she can carry around and shoot. And she also can put up like barriers and stuff like that. Here's the thing I gotta come clean about. Rampart in Apex recently got an update. It used to be her big ass minigun that was super fun to use could only be used if it was planted on the ground. And only recently did she get the buff that allows her to carry it around. And what happened was that buff came out on a Tuesday. And I played it for like 5 minutes just to feel it. And it felt really good. And I was really happy about it because I love that character. And then we had to stream because we have our Tuesday stream, right? So I couldn't play it that night. I wanted to just play Apex all night, but I couldn't because we were playing Manifest, and that's fine because I had a lot of fun. Here's the thing, though. That happened in the Punched Peaks.
The Dogs of War.
That's where the Dogs of War came from. The Dogs of War were just Rampart miniguns. That's all they are. I just had to I was like, I can't play Apex, but I can play Rampart.
We need to get Tommy playing games with people that don't kill us that bad. we need to get Tommy real into like Animal Crossing and Stardew Valley.
That just makes
ideas.
The social drama worse. Yeah, so I created the Dogs of War based on Rampart's gun. So I mean, Sheila, which is the name of her big ass minigun, is just like a heavy firearm with the auto turret ability and rotating barrels and full auto and explosive rounds for the extra damage, which is what the Dogs of War have. So that's easy enough. As far as like what her like skills and stuff would be, I don't know what her history would be. I'm interested to see if anyone else has an idea. But I mean, she's Tinkerer.
It's like Urbanite, right? She's an Urbanite tinkerer.
Yeah. Well,
She owns a shop.
she does own a shop. Oh God, is she peddler? I guess she's probably half and half tinkerer peddler, right?
No, she's a tinkerer. 100%. That's a tinkerer. She sells things that don't make you a peddler.
Sure, but like a lot of her voice lines have to
Because
do
the
with
things
like
work.
hyping up her own stuff. And there's currently a location in one of the maps that is her shop that she landed in the battleground for people to
Sure.
shop at.
Peddler them.
So I think probably
Anyways.
half tinker. I think she started out as tinkerer, right? And then like after making multiple levels, like grabbed a couple peddler
Yeah,
things, or at least
peddlers.
one peddler thing.
I mean, it's like know-how, sure hands, and I want to say hardiness because of the barriers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
and
hard.
6 muscle, 100%.
6 muscle. She needs it so she can use heavy firearms. Yeah. Probably. It's probably hardiness, though. I could see an argument for Moxie because she's really mean to people, and you could just go far enough into it to like get good intimidation, and also the thing that's like if looks could kill.
Intimidation isn't in Moxie. It's in
It's in Brawn. Yeah.
It's in
Yeah.
Brawn.
Well, maybe not Moxie then. Maybe it is just hardiness, but definitely you need. Oh no, she doesn't need vigilance.
At War Dancer, carry 2 big miniguns. That's not, to the best of my knowledge, that's not how War Dancer works.
It would work.
Does
Not
it work?
Not War Dancer. You got to get
Not War Dancer, pure strength.
Yeah.
Pure strength.
Carry a big stick.
One of those two.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
yes, it's allowed. You can do it.
All right, well,
Definitely Tinkerer though, and she has all the way down to the tier 4 Master Crafter because like her guns, especially in like the special zone that exists right now in one of the maps, is like her guns break the rules. They have mods that they can't have and stuff like that, and they're just like better than the other guns. So like Tinkerer all the way down to tier 4 for Master Crafter, so you can like craft really well. Probably Sure Hands for spray and pray, right? Because that's like her whole thing. And
Then
then
have quick fix.
yeah, and like a couple
Quick
hard.
fix is just barriers.
Yeah, quick fix just lets you
God.
build barriers.
that would be so cool if she had lead for lead in the game.
People shoot at you, you shoot more bullets, and it's okay.
Yeah.
That'd be a great ability for her. All right. So that I think is the end of all of the questions. I got nothing else in the Discord. I got nothing else in the chat. So we're gonna call it for tonight. We're going to be back on. Oh man, this is so much fun because we know that it's Owen Lemaire, but we have to skip a week. We're gonna be back on next week on the 26th with our very, very special Halloween episode, Rico Kasich and the Ghost Town Shakedown.
You got it, bud.
Yeah. We're gonna be doing that. It's gonna be
I'm
really
gonna wear
fun.
a hat. It's gonna be exciting.
We're gonna get super into it, and you guys are gonna be able to interact with us in ways you haven't been able to before, so you don't want to miss it. You can really have some interesting effect on the gameplay. So we will see you all next week on the 26th, 8 p.m. Central. Until then, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.